Chapter 1553. Lin Che said, "Let's see who else needs to be invited." I've looked around. Anyway, Jinka knows how to count the Gu family. Let's just look at our side. Then there shouldn't be anyone else. We've already invited those who should be invited. As for those who shouldn't be invited, I suspect that there will be people who want to freeload. Then, if they come on our big day, we won't slap them in the face. Yeah, they're all guests. As long as they don't cause trouble, I welcome them. Yu Minmin took a deep breath and held Lin Che's hand. What should I do? I feel a little nervous. Lin Che laughed. It's not like I've never been married before. I was nervous last time too, but I'm even more nervous this time. Last time, I was always worried that I would do something wrong and lose my life. After all, the whole country and the whole world are watching. But this time, there aren't as many people watching. I still feel nervous. Don't worry, we're all here. Plus, Big Brother won't let anything happen to you. I'm worried that something will happen to me. If I do something wrong, all the preparations will go to waste. Silly, no matter what happens, it's your wedding. It's a memory for the future. What's it to worry about? Yu Minmin snorted. It's not you. Of course you won't be worried. I don't believe that you weren't worried at that time. Why, she was right. Lin Che could only pout. You're so annoying. I can't comfort you, and you're even insulting me. All right. Worrying is a part of the wedding. Just enjoy it, my bride. Pfft, I'm Jingming's bride. Who's yours? You. Lin Che was speechless. The two of them laughed as they finished their work. Although they had prepared well, they still felt a little nervous on the day of the wedding. A few days before the wedding, the news of Gu Jingming's resignation had been announced on the internet. The new presidential candidates had also met with everyone one after another. Among them, Gu Jingming nominated one of them, and the popularity immediately increased. This was the candidate that Gu Jingming, Gu Jingze, and the others had thought of together. Everything went according to plan. Gu Jingming also announced that he would hold a new wedding. Last time, it was a wedding like the wedding of the century. This time, as an ordinary person, he was going to marry the woman he loved. This time, many of the president's fans were on the verge of tears. Everyone was saying that some people had thought that Gu Jingming did it for his career and for the sake of his political wedding. But now, there was nothing more to say. He's not the president anymore, but he still loves his wife. All of a sudden, all of Gu Jingming's previous deeds were posted on the internet again. All of a sudden, Gu Jingming's love and his past were praised to the skies. There were even a lot of people who came to invite him to do programs. There were also quite a few people fighting to attend the wedding. There were quite a few people who beat around the bush to ask Lin Che if he had an invitation and if he could go take a look. Even though Gu Jingming was no longer the president, his wedding would still attract a lot of attention. Even more people and fans would pay attention to it. If he could attend the wedding, it would definitely be something he could brag about. He could also show his face in front of the media. The news could be written for a few days. With such anticipation, the date of the wedding finally approached. Early in the morning, Yu Minmin was woken up. Actually, because she was nervous at night, she didn't sleep for long. She was worried that she would have dark circles and swollen eyes. Luckily, the makeup artist had a good solution for this kind of thing. She had already prepared an ice pack and a drink to reduce swelling for Yu Minmin. The makeup started at 4 o'clock in the morning. Lin Che was also ready to leave at 4 o'clock. The two kids were still sleeping. She asked Dongzi to wake them up at 6 o'clock and bring them to the wedding venue. She would go and help them first. Gu Jingming was waiting outside. He wanted to come in and see Yu Minmin, but he was stopped by Lin Che. "Brother, you can't go in. Minmin is staying at her parents' home now. You have to follow the rules when you see her." Gu Jingming was very anxious. He looked outside and said, "I just want to take a look. I want to see if the custom-made dress is suitable. Don't worry. We can't compare to Yu Min in terms of beauty. I'll keep an eye on him. But hurry up and get out." Lin Che slammed the door shut with a bang. Gu Jingming face-palmed. Gu Jingze walked over and said, "That's enough. Sina is like this." Last time, he did not experience it because at that time, all he had to do was receive it at the front. It was just a formality. Who would dare to make trouble in the president's bridal chamber? But this time that it was the first time Gu Jingming experienced the feeling of being a groom. He suddenly felt a little nervous. Lin Che watched as the people outside left dejectedly. He covered his mouth and laughed. He said to Yu Minmin, "You still want to come in?" "No way." Yu Minmin was speechless. "Why are you so anxious? It's not like you can't see him. You want to see him first. You're just curious. Has he seen the wedding dress before?" "But I don't think he has seen me in it." "Of course, you can't let him see it. He has to see you in it for the first time today." Lin Che watched as Yu Minmin went up to the last level. The makeup artist said, "Take a look, Mrs. Gu. Are you satisfied?" Lin Che took a closer look. These makeup artists were used by the company all the time. They were trustworthy. "Very good. Just be careful when you put on the makeup. Don't smudge it. Don't worry. We'll be extra careful at Mrs. President's wedding." Yu Minmin raised her head and said, "I'm not Mrs. President anymore. You are for a day and for the rest of your life. In our hearts, Mr. President will always be Mr. President." A few makeup artists packed up and said, "If it was in the past, we wouldn't have had the chance to do the makeup for your wedding. This time, it's all thanks to the two madams." "Of course not. You always do it for us in the company. We've worked together for so many years. This is different from working with the company. Look, there are so many reporters and people outside." Lin Che also looked out after they reminded him. As expected, the place was full of reporters. Lin Che said speechlessly, "Seriously, they really like to join the fun." The makeup artist said, "Everyone says that we're looking forward to it even more than the wedding of the century." "Yeah, because it's a wedding filled with love. Mr. President gave it to Mrs. President. We're so envious." Yu Minmin lowered her head and couldn't help but smile warmly, with a little shyness in her smile. They had been together for so many years. It was embarrassing to be said like that. Chapter 1554. Outside, the reporters were very excited. After Gu Jingming became the president, many of the strict guards were removed. In the past, the reporters could only look at him from afar. Now, they could get closer to see this charming president. How could they not be excited? At this time, the reporters watched Gu Jingming walking back and forth inside and felt amazed. The flashlights kept flashing as they watched Gu Jingming inside. Lin Che saw that Yu Minmin was done with the decorations. Gu Xinian and Gu Xiwan had already arrived. Yu Minmin smiled and said, "You two little things, come here. Annie has some delicious food. Go and play." Gu Xiwan looked at Yu Minmin and said, "Auntie, you're so beautiful. You look like a fairy in this dress." Yu Minmin was amused. "Xiwan is so good at talking. Nian, when are you going to learn from him? Look at your sister. She's so obedient and sweet." Gu Xinian was a taciturn person. He didn't like to talk. Gu Xinian looked at Gu Xiwan and said, "We only need one person in our family who can talk. I'll be in charge of making her look good." If they were praising someone else, Gu Xinian would be a little disdainful. But since they were praising his sister, he wouldn't say anything. He would even feel very proud. Yu Minmin looked at this little adult speechlessly. Just then, Lin Che walked over and said, all right, go and play first. It's almost time. I'm going to attend the wedding." Gu Xiwan looked at Yu Minmin enviously. "When can I wear this? It looks so good." Yu Minmin smiled and patted her little head. "Oh my, you want to get married at such a young age. If your father knew, he would be very sad." "Huh? Why?" "Because if you marry someone else, you'll become someone else's bride and have to live in someone else's house." "Huh? Why? Can I be someone else's bride and still live in my own house?" Well, you two have to live together after getting married. If you live in your house, where do you want your husband to live? Does he want to live in my house too? We could be together in the day and go home at night. It's just like when we were in kindergarten." Yu Minmin said, "Don't your parents sleep together every night? You'd be like that too." "That's different. My mom is disobedient, and my dad has to discipline my mom. That's why we live together. I'm very obedient." "How did your father discipline your mother?" "He's the one who wants to spank mommy at night." "Why does this sound so weird?" Yu Minmin raised his head and looked at Lin Che with a dubious expression. Lin Che's face turned red, then white. He pulled Gu Xiwan over and said, "What nonsense are you talking about? There's no such thing." Yu Minmin covered her mouth and laughed. "I didn't expect that after being married for so many years, you still have so much fun. You even spanked me." "That's not what I meant." Lin Che was speechless and didn't know how to explain. because actually it was really Gu Shiwan said it's true. When my dad spanked my mom's, but he even said, you better behave yourself next time, or else I'll hit you even harder. So, my mom must have done something wrong. Lin Shay wanted to cry, this Gu Jingza. It was all his fault. He didn't care about anything else and played around with her. Now, the kids had seen it. That's right, Gu Jingza was like this. Even now, he still treated her like a child, picking her up and spanking her for no reason. She was the mother of the kids, okay? Lin Shay pulled Gu Shiwan over and said, "You're wrong." Yu Minmin stared blankly for a moment, then started laughing so hard that he started rocking back and forth. I'm sorry. I misunderstood. I really thought you were. But now I know. Ha 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 ha. It's even funnier. Lin Shay, your status in the family. Lin Shay's face darkened. It was all Gu Shiwan's fault. Just then, someone came to inform them. Madam, it's about to start. You can go now. The wedding was about to start. Lin Shay went outside and saw that someone had already come to pick up the bride. Yu Minmin stood up and the makeup artists quickly lowered their heads to help her tidy up. Yu Minmin looked ahead and sighed. Lin Shay, yes. Thank you for being part of my family. You're welcome. I'm part of your family. Yu Minmin smiled faintly. Her parents were probably watching from the sky, weren't they? She felt a little sad in her heart. Especially at a time like this, everyone would think of their parents. Just then, she walked out and saw Yu Chengcheng walking over. Wow, sis, you're so beautiful today. Yu Minmin said, are you saying I wasn't beautiful before? Not really. You're the most beautiful today. He smiled and reached out to hold Yu Minmin's hand. When they walked out, they saw that most of the wedding procession was already outside. From afar, Mu Firen and the others were still blocking the way, not letting anyone in. Lin Shay hurried over to help and said to the door, do you want to see our beautiful bride? The people outside said one after another, of course. Bring her out for us to see. No way. Where's the red packet? Get to me first. Everyone was really. Okay, the red packet is ready. The red packet was handed over. Lin Shay looked at the amount and asked Mu Firen, did I pass? Yes, I did, but Lin Shay said, big brother, it's not easy to get married. We have to see your sincerity before we let you in to see our Minmin. They looked at each other. They knew they were up to no good. What else do you want? Mu Firen said, let Mr. President express his sincerity. Black Eagle was still watching from behind. Hey, no way. Hurry up and get her out. You've wasted so much time and you still want to express your sincerity? If you don't let her out, we'll go in and snatch her. Lin Shay pushed Mu Firen forward. Hey, Black Eagle, this is how you get married. Why? Don't you want to get married? How dare you come and snatch her away? Let me tell you, it's time for us to see your performance. If you don't perform well now, you won't get married in the future. Duh. Mu Firen blushed, but she looked at Black Eagle and Black Eagle looked back at her. After thinking for a while, Black Eagle admitted defeat. He touched his head and said, well, I was just saying. There was a burst of laughter behind. The cameraman was shocked by this scene. How did the dignified Black Eagle be so timid? All right then, tell me, how should I express my sincerity to Madam? Mu Firen smiled. Mr. President, sing a song first. What? What song? There are 3 songs. They're all here. Mr. President, choose one. Chapter 1555. A few of them looked over, only to see what kind of songs were those. One was, Wife, Wife, I Love You. The second was Mice Love Rice. The third was Little Apple. Was he trying to mess with the president? Had the president heard these songs before? Gu Jingming frowned. What if I don't know how to sing? Mu Firen said, I don't know how to sing. Let your people sing. Gu Jingming turned around. Which one of you knows how to sing? They were all playing dumb. What a joke. If they sang this kind of song here and people heard it, they would laugh at them for the rest of their lives. They couldn't sing it even if they were beaten to death. Gu Jingming said, no one knows how to sing? Gu Jingze looked at the Black Eagle beside him. You hang out in the nightclubs every day. I'm sure you know how to sing. Come, sing a song. Haha, just kill me with a knife. I don't know how to sing. My head is broken and my blood is flowing. I can't sing this song. What a joke. There were so many people watching. Gu Jingze looked at Liu Beichen again. Hey, no, you can sing if you want. Gu Jingzhen narrowed his eyes. One factory. Liu Beichen's eyes moved. How generous. But that he chuckled. Only one factory? Gu Jingzhen's eyes darkened. Okay, two. Haha, there are many factories. I don't care. I have another villa by the bay. It's beautiful. It's perfect for a honeymoon. Perfect for a honeymoon? That's not bad. Liu Beichen looked at Gu Jingyan. What did he mean? Was he willing to matchmake Gu Jingyan and him for a honeymoon? Okay, Brother Jingming, look at these people. When it comes to serious matters, none of them can be of use. I'll help you get married. He walked to the front as he said this. Mu Firen ran over and handed him a microphone. He coughed dryly and said, Then let me present to you a well-known song, Little Apple. The crowd burst into laughter again. Liu Beichen thought to himself that this was a good deal for a song that was worth so much money. Which celebrity could have such a high net worth? His song was definitely worth more than even an A-list celebrity. You're mine, little apple. The moment Liu Beichen opened his mouth, the people behind him couldn't stop laughing. They laughed so hard that their cheeks twitched a few times. The bridesmaids couldn't help but laugh. Gu Jingyan couldn't take it anymore. She covered her face and shouted, Seriously? Don't tell others that I know him. Soon he finished singing. Liu Beichen tossed the microphone aside and went back to his seat. They were about to pick up the bride when they were stopped by Mu Firen. No. Hey, I'm done. Can't you continue? Liu Beichen protested. You sang it. Then Mr. President wants to show his love, or do you want Mr. President to sing it? What? We won't make things difficult for Mr. President. Mr. President can just sing The Moon Represents My Heart. Liu Beichen shouted angrily from behind. Hey, what about the song I just sang? Lin Che said, You were the one who said it yourself. You wanted to add bricks and tiles for Big Brother's wedding. So, President Liu, on a whim, sang a song. Don't worry, I've already recorded it for you. You can look for it online when the time comes. Hey, Lin Che, I'm going to kill you. Gu Jingzhen stopped him. You've already sung it. Liu Beichen said, You, of course you'll be on her side. Hey, why? The men on our side are too weak. The women are all over there. You're all henpecked. Anyway, it wasn't them who sang it. They just wanted to pick up the bride now. Haiying went up and pulled him down. Okay. We're picking up the bride. Stop it. Mu Firen smiled at Gu Jingming. Gu Jingming had no choice but to say, Okay, I'll sing. Everyone watched as Gu Jingming went over and picked up a microphone. Except for when Gu Jingming sang in the school choir when he was a child, they had never heard him sing before, especially in this kind of environment. The people behind him looked at the president expectantly. Gu Jingming turned around and smiled shyly. I didn't sing well. Please forgive me. Gu Jingming turned his gaze inside. He looked at the vague shadow behind the frosted glass door. He coughed dryly and finally spoke. You asked me how much I love you and how much I love you. My love is real. My love is real. The moon represents my heart. Gu Jingming really didn't know how to sing, but the Gu family had good genes. Thanks to these genes, Gu Jingming's voice was still very pleasant, even though his tone was a little stiff. Especially when he looked into the room, his expression was filled with deep emotion. It was so easy to move one's heart. Wow, I'm so touched. Mr. President is so affectionate. Madam is so happy. Everyone clenched their fists and looked at him. Liu Beichen said gloomily, Why do you all look so different when I sing? After the song, Lin Che and Mu Firen were finally satisfied. Okay, let's pick up the bride. Yu Minmin was already laughing inside. But when she heard Gu Jingming's voice, she was so moved that she almost wanted to throw herself at him and hug him. After the bride was picked up, the reporters also swarmed out. There were many people at the scene, and the ceremony was very romantic. Yu Minmin walked down the red carpet with her brother leading the way. She remembered how worried and scared she was when she walked down the red carpet last time. She didn't know what the future would be like. Now, this time, she looked at the man opposite her, and her heart was full of satisfaction. It turned out that marrying for love was the happiest thing in a marriage. She finally understood why so many marriages ended up as graves, and why some people were so afraid of marriage because they had never experienced love in their lives. She wasn't afraid at all, because the man opposite her was the one she trusted, loved, and was willing to protect with her life. The people below cheered and applauded when they saw Gu Jingming take the bride's hand. Lin Che raised his head and saw that Abai and Shui Yang were already sitting on the side. They didn't know Gu Jingming well, so they didn't go to pick up the bride and came directly to the scene. Lin Che was too busy to notice them before, so he walked over now. When are you going to have a wedding? Abai said, I'm fine. Actually, I think our wedding is good enough. The two of them, holding hands and growing old together in the church, were already very satisfied. Lin Che said, although you're married, we didn't come to witness it and you didn't treat us to a meal. No, we also want to eat delicious food. How could Shui Yang let that hasty wedding be treated as a real wedding? Of course, when the house is ready, I'll hold another wedding for Abai. At that time, you won't be able to run away. Of course, you won't be able to run away either. Chapter 1556. Abai looked at Shui Yang, and the two looked at each other. She felt that there was nothing more important at this moment. As long as the two of them were together, she could give up everything. However, Shui Yang couldn't let her be wronged like this. Even if she left Wesley's family, she would have what other girls had. She would have what other girls didn't have. Right now, he would only work harder to make her happy. A wedding was reported to the outside world. There were more live broadcasts online than the previous wedding of the century. As for the media, they were following the whole process. All of a sudden, the celebrities who could come to the president's wedding all seemed to have a lot of face, showing off on Weibo. Almost all the artists from Yining's studio came. There were those from other companies who couldn't come. They thought with envy and jealousy that Yining's studio was good. The pavilion closest to the water enjoys moonlight first. Anything good could happen to them. Basic resources were good. Everyone came and basically sat in the same position, greeting each other together. Suwon saw Gu Jingyu from afar. He was sitting in the position of a relative, far away from here. Now that it had been a long time, she didn't care so much about the past. But in the depths of her heart, she still felt that he was a special person. Everyone was still looking at the front enviously. No one knew her relationship with Gu Jingyu. No one knew why she was looking over there and what she was looking at. Mr. President is so handsome. Yeah, and he's so gentle to the madam. This kind of love is enough, even if it's once in a lifetime. Unfortunately, not everyone can meet someone like Mr. President, especially in our circle. Sisters, you have to keep your eyes open. If only I could be like Sister Che and meet someone as good as Gu Jingza in this circle. In your dreams. You can't be as lucky as Sister Che. I have a boyfriend anyway. All right, the company is going to do a program in a few days. It's opening a coffee shop. I'm participating. Suwon, you're participating too, right? Suwon looked up. Yeah. Some newcomers were invited to the coffee shop program, wanting to boost the popularity of the company's newcomers. Suwon was also called to participate in it. The program was that a few people would work together to open a coffee shop and film some interesting things about opening a coffee shop. Some fans might recognize them, but they might not. All the operations and calculations were done by them. I wonder how the program will turn out. It's a show made by Sis Che. It definitely won't be bad. Sis Che has such good taste. In front, the wedding ceremony had already been carried out. Some guests left on their own. The reporters outside were still interviewing every guest. They wanted to know more details about the wedding inside. However, more details have been moved to Gu Jingming's new home. In the past, no one dared to make trouble in the bridal chamber. Now is the time to make up for it. Gu Jingming and Yu Minmin were both sitting there. Seeing the group of people surrounding them, they couldn't help but feel worried. I feel like you guys are going to eat us, Gu Jingming said. Yu Minmin also hurriedly said, don't cause too much trouble. Liu Beichen said, that won't do. How are we going to return the favor when we just received the bride? Yu Minmin shouted, you can't do this. Now it was time for the bridesmaids to make a scene. Everyone stared at Mu Firen and Lin Che covetously. Okay, you can't be the bridesmaids. How about two bridesmaids? Lin Che put his hands on his waist. What are you doing? Liu Beichen said, there are no siblings here. You're the bridesmaid, and we're in charge of making trouble for you. Understand? Mu Firen said, don't go overboard. We're going to meet again in the future. Liu Beichen said, you're only saying that now. Why didn't you think about it when you embarrassed me just now? This. Lin Che said, okay. Just tell me how you want to do it. Liu Beichen came up and took the wedding candies. Here, these are the wedding candies. I'll write everyone's names on them. Everyone looked at him as he wrote down the names. He said, after that, everyone here will have a share. Now, the bridesmaids will put the wedding candies into the bride's dress. What? Lin Che took the wedding candies and sprinkled them into Yu Minmin's dress. Liu Beichun said, okay, now our groom will draw the lottery for us. Quick, groom, go and touch. What? Yu Minmin shouted, no. How could she touch in front of so many people? Io, you're already married and you're still so shy. Hurry up, hurry up. Gu Jingming looked at her and smiled helplessly at the crowd. You're just playing tricks on us, aren't you? That's right, that's right. We didn't dare to do it before, but we can't now. Okay. Don't think that I can't take revenge on you now. Gu Jingming pointed at the crowd and said, just you wait. Liu Beichen said, we'll talk about that later. Right now, you better listen to me. Otherwise, don't even think about consummating your marriage. We'll wait here. Gu Jingming knew that he was alone and helpless today, so he coughed dryly. He looked at Yu Minmin, who was shy, and pulled her into his arms. Actually, they couldn't see anything, but they still cheered. They watched Gu Jingming touch her for a long time that Yu Minmin was so shy that she buried her head in his arms. She felt his hands moving around and her face turned even redder. Okay, the first one is out. Another one. Again, a night of spring is worth 1,000 gold. Hurry up and come. That's the second one. Okay, the last one. Hurry up, hurry up. Gu Jingming was speechless. Everyone was satisfied when they found 3 in total. Lin Che suddenly thought that it was lucky that they didn't dare to touch Gu Jingze. Otherwise, they were so shy. But it was indeed quite interesting. Seeing that everyone was convulsing with laughter, the bride and groom's faces were red, but they weren't angry. They knew that everyone was just there for fun, so they didn't mind. The next one is ready. Bride, come on. The bride will start now. Put the lipstick in your mouth and draw the groom's name on his face. If it's wrong, bridesmaids will do 10 push-ups. Lin Che protested. Why should it be us? Liu Beichen said, why not you? The bride is too tired. How can she consummate the marriage tonight? You. You're the bridesmaid. Lin Che and Mu Firen looked at each other speechlessly. They felt that they had entered a wolf's den. Liu Beichen, just you wait. Don't think that you won't be punished. Humph, we'll talk about it when the time comes. Chapter 1557. Yu Minmin looked at Lin Che sympathetically. Don't blame me if it's wrong. Let's start. Liu Beichen had already passed the lipstick to Yu Minmin. Yu Minmin's hands were tied behind her back. She looked at Gu Jingming with the lipstick in her mouth. She couldn't bear to write anything on Gu Jingming's handsome face. But Gu Jingming lowered his head. He was too tall, so he had to squat down. Yu Minmin lowered his head and continued drawing, but it was a little difficult to draw with his mouth. Seeing Gu Jingming's messy face, Yu Minmin felt guilty. He bit his lipstick and looked at him pitifully. She really didn't have any artistic talent. It's over. Lin Che, do the push-ups. Liu Beichen looked at it. There wasn't even a normal curve, let alone a name. Yu Minmin threw the lipstick away and looked at Lin Che gloomily. I tried my best. Liu Beichen said, all right. Hurry up and do the push-ups. Lin Che looked at him gloomily. Liu Beichen was too arrogant for him to be the MC today. Lin Che snorted. He was about to do it, but felt that he couldn't do it. She looked up immediately and looked at Gu Jingze sadly. Do you really want me to do it? Gu Jingze wanted to turn his head away when he saw the look in her eyes. Lin Che said, I'll probably be paralyzed after I'm done. Do you really want me to do it? Liu Beichen noticed and glared at him. Hey, Gu Jingze, whose side are you on? Lin Che put his hands on his hips. What do you mean? My husband. Which side do you think I'm on? If it's not my side, then it's yours. Gu Jingze heard this, and his heart warmed up. All right. Let's not do it. You, Gu Jingze, can't you have some principles? Lin Che said, what? Do you have principles for your wife? It's okay to have principles for you, but for me, that's impossible. Liu Beichen looked at the two of them. He could only sigh when he saw Gu Jingze's threatening smile. He couldn't afford to offend him. He turned to the other bridesmaid. Mu Firen was stunned, but at this moment, what? Do you think there's no one behind her? At this moment, the Black Hawk suddenly stepped forward. Liu Beichen looked at Black Hawk speechlessly. Really, how was he supposed to play anymore? Look at you. Look at you men. Can't you have some principles? Are you afraid of women? Seriously. Gu Jingyan grabbed Liu Beichen and said, "Oh, aren't you afraid?" Everyone burst into laughter. Only Gu Jingming and Yu Minmin were left to consummate their marriage. Everyone left, and the room became quiet. Gu Jingming took a glass of red wine and put it on the table. Seeing Yu Minmin sitting on the bed, he walked over, bent down, and took off her high heels. Yu Minmin said, "Getting married is tiring enough, and you're doing it again." Gu Jingming grabbed her foot with his hand. Yu Minmin's heart opened wide. He smiled and said, "Yes, because I remember that last time, we didn't have time to consummate our marriage. This time." "What? This time? I have to make up for it all." His hand was still hot on her foot. She couldn't pull her hand back, even if she wanted to. In an instant, she was pulled down by him, and both of them fell. He hugged her and looked at her face. Yu Minmin felt warm and cozy. Looking at him, she didn't feel tired at all. "So are you happy today?" he asked. "Yes. This is what a wedding should be, right?" "Yes." Although it was tiring, every moment was so interesting when she recalled it. She pursed her lips and smiled. He said, "Okay then, one more, and then our wedding will be over." How could he let a moment like this go to waste? The two of them leaned against each other. Outside, the moon was shining brightly. When Gu Jingyu got home, he received a call from Lin Che. "We have a program to do in a few days. Can you go and help us? Be the host." "Host?" "Yes, it's called Coffee Shop." "Can I refuse?" "No." After Lin Che finished speaking, he hung up the phone. Gu Jingyu was speechless. Seriously, the program The Coffee Shop was about to start. The artists in Lin Che's studio were rather harmonious, but they weren't that clean. After the company grew bigger, there would always be some talented artists, but there would also be some narrow-minded artists who joined the company. Today, there are a total of 6 newcomers, 3 male and 3 female. Suwon was one of them. AI Mealy was also one of them. Just like Suwon, the two of them were cautious and kept an eye on the coffee shop. They chose a street that wasn't too crowded. If there were too many people, they were worried that it would affect the filming. Therefore, they chose a place with fewer people. Aimi looked at the menu and said, "There are a lot of things that I don't know how to make. I hope I won't ruin it and embarrass Sister Che." Suwon said, "I've been a waiter in a coffee shop before. It's okay. It's just that I'm not good at making flowers." I heard that Chunming knows how to make flowers. He used to be a bartender, and Sister Che pulled him from bar. Then it shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, I just hope that the ratings can be high this time. But we're all newcomers. I wonder if Sister Che will find some of her old friends or something to help us increase our popularity. On the other side, Sun Ruru said and walked over. Suwon smiled. Aimi said, "I just want to be famous. I just want to be famous. It depends on whether or not I'm lucky." Sun Ruru said, "What's wrong? You don't want to be famous?" "I want to be famous. Which celebrity doesn't want to be famous, right?" Even Sister Che said that she wanted to be famous. Aimi curled her lips. Suwon also said, "Yeah, I want to be famous too. Of course, I'm famous and I have a lot of fans. I'm going to return to my hometown in glory and let those people in my family die when they hear that I'm a celebrity." Suwon laughed. "Okay, I just think that I'll be able to make a living if I'm famous." Right? She was different from them. Eating was already a problem for her. Why would she care about anything else? She thought that if she could make money, then she wouldn't need to rent such a small underground apartment every day. She also wouldn't need to worry about how to buy clothes and how to eat. These were the things she needed to solve urgently. She was realistic and just wanted to be like this. She packed up her things and said goodbye to everyone. After returning, she bought a basket of buns and a dumpling on the way back. When she returned to her rented apartment, everyone placed the buns on the simple and crude table to eat. Lin Che spent a lot of money to pay for the contract with the new company. Therefore, she shot advertisements and did commercial performances. She didn't use the money and save it to return it to the company. She looked at the amount in her bank account and ate the buns in satisfaction. She also hoped that she could become famous. If she became famous, she could return the money and save money to live a good life. Chapter 1558. The next day, AI Mealy came to the company crying. Suwon asked what happened. AI Mealy said, I broke up with my boyfriend. They had really broken up too many times. Suwon heard that they had broken up 6 or 7 times. Suwon said, when are we getting back together this time? AI Mealy yelled, I'm not getting back together. I'm not getting back together even if you beat me to death. If we get back together, then I'm really cheap. Okay. We're not getting back together. After the show, let's go for a drink. Really? You're so stingy. You're willing to do that? Everyone in the company knew that Suwon was stingy. She had a micro-movie and was extremely popular, but she was still renting a house and eating takeout right now. Suwon didn't explain to anyone. She had her own thoughts. Her money still belonged to someone else. Many people in the company thought that the company's money should be returned slowly, but she felt that this was unfair to the company. She didn't want to be in so much debt. The company helped her earn money, but she didn't return the money. Lin Che saved her. If it wasn't for Lin Che, she would have been frozen by the original company. She had to return the money. She said, seeing that you broke up again, I'll be more generous. Don't cry. I'm touched. AI immediately hugged Suwon. Sun Ruru walked past and looked at the two. She said in disdain, how childish. Many people in the company knew about AI Mi Lee's love history. Many people thought that it was inconceivable. Many celebrities chose to be single now. Once they became popular, they'd find a rich man to marry. Even if they weren't rich, they'd at least be a rich man. But AI Mealy stayed with her boyfriend, who didn't have much money for so many years. In the afternoon, they went to a coffee shop together. Today was the first episode of the show, so everyone worked hard. They checked the menu and recruited new people. Suwon ran back and forth, very diligent. Sun Ruru sat inside and maintained a pretty expression. Seeing that Suwon really became a waitress, she snorted and thought to herself, this idiot. Did she really think that she was here to work? They were here to record a reality show. When the camera came over, he could just pretend to be calm. Many people came because they saw Suwon and AI Mi Lee. They knew that they were celebrities. Some asked to take photos with them, while others chatted happily. There were also quite a few who didn't recognize them. After all, they were still newcomers. At this time, a person secretly sat in a corner. At this moment, the cameras hurriedly shot over, a few of them aimed at him. He was wearing a cap and a pair of sunglasses, sitting in the corner in a low-key manner. The person on the other side of the hidden camera said excitedly, all right, today we can see that the big star, the big boss, Gu Jingyu, has arrived. Everyone can see that he is sitting here now. Our waiters are still busy. No one noticed him, and the customers didn't notice him at all. Now someone has noticed him. Look at Sun Ruru. Sun Ruru saw someone at the bar counter. Her skin was fair, and she sat there with her head lowered. Subconsciously, she knew that it was different from the others. She hurriedly took the menu and walked over. With a single look, he nearly cried out in astonishment. Wow! Gu Jingyu. However, Sun Ruru was startled and immediately thought that there must be a camera here. She didn't want others to come and talk with her at all, so she whispered here first. Gu, Senior, do you not want to be seen by others? Gu Jingyu thought that he didn't want to come at all. Wasn't it because of Lin Che? He said, then, what do you want to order? I'll do it for you. Sun Ruru immediately went to order. Seeing this, the person behind the control felt that it was naturally boring for only Sun Ruru to see it. Since Gu Jingyu came, he must make use of him. So he immediately ordered Sun Ruru to do something else first. After Sun Ruru finished ordering, she was called by the store manager to be in charge of something else. Sun Ruru looked at this side unwillingly, but there was a camera, so she didn't dare to mess around. She could only leave first. At this time, Gu Jingyu's order was done. The person behind the monitor immediately said, look, the second person walked towards Gu Jingyu. It's Suwon. Then did she find Gu Jingyu? Suwon really didn't know. She put the coffee on the table and felt that she was still very busy, so she quickly left. She didn't even look at Gu Jingyu. Gu Jingyu's thoughts were, where do your eyes grow? Suwon directly left. Gu Jingyu sat there and looked at her, speechless. Suwon continued to busy herself with other things, but she saw a few customers chattering there. Look, that man is so handsome. I can't even see his face, and he's still handsome. I know he's handsome just by looking at his figure. And his clothes are very fashionable. I don't know if he's also a celebrity. Now that you mention it, I think he looks a bit familiar. Suwon couldn't help but look over. The man sat there. His aura seemed to be incompatible with the surroundings, completely different. The impetuous aura became much more stable when it came to him. Suwon looked at him, and a familiar feeling couldn't help but hit her. At this time, Suwon's heart brightened. Gu Jingyu? Suwon clenched her fingers. She wanted to go over, but she didn't dare to. They were familiar, but also unfamiliar. Now, it was even more unfamiliar. It was as if the two paths had met at the center and then headed in different directions, with no possibility of returning to each other. She stood there and watched, seeing that Sun Ruru had come back in a hurry. Ah, I just placed the order over there. Oh, Suwon has already sent it over. What? Suwon, what's wrong with you? That's my order. I saw that there's no one. All of a sudden, Suwon understood that Sun Ruru had already found out. She said, I'll leave everything to you in a while. I'll leave the tidying up to you too, okay? Really? Sun Ruru was a little satisfied. She looked at Suwon and walked over, saying, Don't you know that's Gu Jingyu? I know. Then why don't you go over? Don't you want to go over? Heh, you really have no desires and no demands to the extreme. Sun Ruru was very confused. She said, Are you going? Sigh. I'm telling you, I won't touch this kind of man. Why? Suwon looked at her. Aren't there a lot of people who want to marry Gu Jingyu? First, it's impossible to fantasize about marrying him, right? His family definitely needs to find someone of equal status. Moreover, it's very stressful to marry him. Look at who marries a wealthy family. They will definitely be happy in the end. The risk is too big, so I only hope that he can make me famous. Suwon felt that what she said was quite smart. However, wouldn't Gu Jingyu become a tool? Chapter 1559. Suwon looked in Gu Jingyu's direction. She watched silently for a while. Time to collect. Someone yelled. Suwon told Sun Ruru to go collect. Sun Ruru rushed over. Senior Gu. All of a sudden, the people in the restaurant noticed Gu Jingyu. Ah, Gu Jingyu. Sun Ruru was pushed to the side, and the fans rushed over. Gu Jingyu was buried in the middle, smiling. Behind a monitor, the person in charge was still laughing. It's over. Our Gu Jingyu is being attacked. Now his identity is completely exposed. At this time, the director came out. Okay, everyone can see it. Today, the person who will be acting as the store manager is Gu Jingyu. Everyone reacted immediately. It turned out that he was here to participate in the show and be the acting store manager. Gu Jingyu raised his hand and smiled at everyone. These are my employees, right? Thank you for taking care of me today. Suwon looked at him, and he couldn't help but glance at Suwon too. Facing her direction, a faint smile. Everyone looked at Gu Jingyu excitedly. Lin Shae was really nice to them. He even invited Gu Jingyu here. It seemed that he really wanted to train them. AI immediately held her face. Ah, a living Gu Jingyu. The show continued. AI immediately said, Look at Sun Ruru. She's always dominating Gu Jingyu. You're going to be a tyrant too. I'm not that shameless. Then what can you do? Okay. Sigh. Unfortunately, Gu Jingyu doesn't act anymore. Maybe he's too lazy to act anymore. I heard that when Gu Jingyu wanted to be a celebrity, his family didn't approve of it. I think it's good to be a celebrity. He has so many fans, and hundreds will respond to his call. Sigh. Maybe it's because our family is different. His life is smooth sailing. I always feel that's boring. Look, he's like an oddity in his family. Why would he come out to be an actor? I heard that he hasn't been home for over a decade. It can be seen how much trouble he's had with his family. Haven't been home for over a decade? Yeah. Suwon once again looked at the man who was seriously looking at the bill. It seemed familiar, but in the past, perhaps in her heart, there had been some resistance to knowing about him and hearing his name. Therefore, she was not really familiar with him. This was the first time she had heard of this. He sat behind the bar with his head lowered. He was tall and sat on a crappy high chair. Both his feet were placed on it, so his pants were a little raised. He was very thin, so even though his body was full of muscles, his slender ankles still exposed his slenderness. His skin was very white, and his exposed ankles looked very tender. He was wearing sneakers, casual pants, and a red apron. He looked like the most extraordinary person among the ordinary people. She looked like an angel, so beautiful. Unfortunately, if it was an ordinary handsome boy, he would probably be happier. Therefore, her beautiful face was filled with impatience, exhaustion, and confusion towards the world. He lifted his eyelids and looked at Suwon. Their eyes met, and he smiled. Suwon also smiled. She felt that with so many people separating them, that smile looked very warm. Sun Ruru couldn't help but look over, wanting to see who Gu Jingyu was smiling at. Suwon began to wipe the coffee cups on the table. After washing them, she wiped them clean and placed them in the disinfectant cabinet. Her movements were very neat and clean. Outside, the streets were winding. On the small path, there was a layer of burnt yellow leaves. It looked very warm. Although autumn was cold, it always made people think of the word warm. Just like a coffee shop, it always made people think of the mellow atmosphere, soft light, and music. Suddenly, she felt that opening a coffee shop was actually a very enjoyable thing. She finally finished cleaning up. The day's filming also ended. Suwon stood by the door, preparing to go home. It started to rain. She stood there and watched everyone leave. She was responsible for closing the shop, so she left a little later and was trapped here by the rain. She was thinking about the continuous autumn rain. She didn't know when it would end. She saw a car parked by the roadside. Gu Jingyu opened the car window. "What's wrong? Are you going home? I'll send you." "Ah, no need. It's not on the way. It's okay. I'll drive. Let's go." Suwon looked at it and decided not to be pretentious. She got into his car. She wanted to sit in the back, but he had already reached out and pulled open the front passenger seat. She had no choice but to sit in it. Gu Jingyu said, "It's very cold. You can only wear this. Here, clothes." He took a piece of clothes from the back seat. "Thank you," she said as she covered herself with the clothes that were full of his smell. However, the rain outside stopped after a while. She felt that it was as if God was playing a joke on her. She said, "It's not raining anymore." "Yeah, my house is just ahead." He looked outside. It was a rented basement. He said, "Your company didn't prepare a dormitory for you?" "I didn't want it. The company has to pay for the rent. It's so expensive. It's only a few hundred yuan a month for me. The cheapest rented by the company costs 7,000 to 8,000 yuan a month. It's not worth it for me to live alone." Gu Jingyu looked at her. There seemed to be a hint of breath lingering between his brows, like the autumn outside. "Okay, I know I'm stupid. What have you been doing recently?" Gu Jingyu said, "I'm filming during the day and going to class at night. I signed up for an English class." "You're learning English?" "Yeah. I can help you." "What?" "I've lived abroad for many years." "What kind of English are you learning?" "Normal business English." Gu Jingyu said, "Next time, bring a book to the coffee shop. I'll teach you." Suwon looked at him, thought about it, and generously accepted. Okay. The next day, she really brought a book to the coffee shop. Still, there weren't many people. When there was nothing else, Suwon picked up a book to read. Gu Jingyu walked to her side, sat down, and said, "You can ask me if there's anything you don't understand." Suwon said, "There's nothing I don't understand. It's just that my spoken English is pretty bad." "Then we can always talk in English now." As he spoke, he really started speaking fluent English. Suwon didn't quite understand. Gu Jingyu spoke a little slower. Suwon said, "Then what should I say? You can tell me about your past, your family's matters, for example, the simplest, where you were born." "I was born in a small, broken-down warehouse." Suwon recalled, "In the middle of the night, my mother suddenly had a stomachache. She wanted to call someone, but she was alone. Because she wanted to be with my father, she broke up with her family, but my father didn't want her either. She was alone outside, living in a warehouse rented by someone else. She bought a small bed and a simple wardrobe and stayed there. She was in pain for the whole night. She was worried that it was fake and that going to the hospital would cost money, so she waited. But later, she couldn't take it anymore. When she wanted to call someone again, it was already too late. She was in so much pain that she could only grab the head of the bed with her hands and endure the pain. She grabbed the bed and left a deep mark. The people next to them watched Su-won and Gu Jingyu talking and felt a little strange. Su-won, what's wrong? Are you chatting with Gu Jingyu? Chapter 1560. AI immediately said, I don't know. They were just chatting. Sun Ruru said disdainfully. Seriously. She pretended to be righteous yesterday and even said that she didn't want to get close to Gu Jingyu. I thought it was true. It turns out that she hooked up with him secretly. AI immediately said, Hey, how can you say that? They were just chatting. Who knows? Yesterday, she was the last one to leave. What do you think she did? Anyway, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe the two of them hooked up after we left. You. Naive. AI me Lee. We're all naive. Look, she was the last to leave yesterday. I really thought that she was so hard-working and would clean up before leaving. It turns out that she had plans. Hey, why are you like this? You sound like you saw everything. You don't know anything at all. Su-won and Gu Jingyu were still sitting there and chatting. He said, Your mother told you that? Yeah. She liked to tell me when I was young. And then, Su-won sighed. I was born just like that. My mother used scissors to cut off the umbilical cord herself, so my belly button was ugly and didn't grow well. People said that because my mother's scissors weren't good, it got infected and grew bad. Later on, my mother endured the pain and stayed in the warehouse for a few days before someone found out and sent her to the hospital. It wasn't easy for you to survive. Yeah, that's why my family always says that I'm blessed. Su-won laughed. Gu Jingyu looked at her and said, Your grammar just now was a little wrong, but it's generally good. You're very smart. Really? Su-won seemed to have been encouraged. She wasn't that afraid when she spoke. The two chatted for a long time. Su-won felt that she had said a lot, but she had never spoken so much before. Unknowingly, it was time to get busy. Sun Ruru came over and purposely said, You're not filming anymore? Su-won quickly went to work. She turned around and smiled at Gu Jingyu. The camera had already captured this scene. The people behind were all amazed. What are these two doing? They've been chatting in English. This scene is too cute. However, they still had to ask Gu Jingyu if they wanted to broadcast it. If Gu Jingyu didn't want to expose it, they wouldn't dare to broadcast it. Su-won went to the back to wash the cups. Sun Ruru walked over with jealousy. I couldn't tell. You look so innocent, but you're actually quite scheming. However, I advise you be careful. Su-won looked at her. What do you mean? He may look good, but he might not be as good as he looks. There must be a reason why Gu Jingyu hasn't gotten married yet. Be careful, he might play you. Be careful that there's something deeper in his family. Your little tricks won't be enough for the Gu family to play with. Sun Ruru said with a threatening face, then turned and left. Su-won didn't say anything and looked at her back. Today's shoot was completed very quickly. Gu Jingyu would not be attending the filming tomorrow. At night, everyone said their goodbyes reluctantly. Su-won looked at him and smiled. He also gestured to Su-won. When everything was over, Gu Jingyu came to Su-won. AI Mi was still there, but when she saw Gu Jingyu, she immediately left. Gu Jingyu said, You haven't finished learning English. What are you going to do? I already know a lot. I think chatting is really useful. Yeah, I'll definitely improve if I go to school again. Su-won smiled. Why don't we go to the lake tomorrow, and I'll continue teaching you? Be a good person to the end. I've only taught half of it, and I'm still worried. I'll pick you up tomorrow at the same time. Su-won wanted to say something, but Gu Jingyu waved his hand and left. AI Mi came over mysteriously. What's going on? Su-won said, Gu Jingyu is teaching me English. What? AI Mi said, No way. It's true. We've been learning in the afternoon. Okay, let's go. Sun Ruru is so jealous. Jealous that I'm learning English? No. She's been bad-mouthing you for a long time. She's really bad. But it's okay. It's because she's jealous. It's better to piss her off. But we're really learning English. Sigh. I hope you guys are dating. Get lost. The next day, Gu Jingyu really came to pick her up. Driving the car, he drove her to a lake. Looking at the lake water outside, it was so clear that the bottom could be seen. It looked like spring water flowing down from the mountains. It looked especially beautiful. It's so beautiful here. Yeah, I like to sit here alone. Gu Jingyu said, There's no one here. It's especially quiet. Su-won said, Yeah, there's so many people everywhere you go. Gu Jingyu smiled. Okay, now we have to speak in English. Yes. Suwon said. Do you also feel annoyed that you've been a big star all this time? Yeah. Gu Jingyu said. That's why I don't film things anymore. Then why did you do this in the first place? Because I was rebellious. I wanted to go against my family for everything. Gu Jingyu said, actually, now that I've become a celebrity, I'm no different from back then. I was born abroad. After I came back, I was followed. Because second brother was attacked when he was young, they were very careful with us. They never stopped following us. Then do you follow us to the bathroom? Yeah. Suwon smiled. He said, no one followed us until now. At this time, Suwon's phone rang. Suwon picked it up. Suwon, tell me. That bastard gave me another present. Should I accept it or not? It was AI me who called. It was her boyfriend that she just broke up with. Of course not. Sob, but I'm so sad. Sad? Didn't you say you were going to treat me to a drink? Okay. Suwon looked at Gu Jingyu. I'm going to my friend's place. I probably can't go to class today. Then I'll send you there. But this place is really far from the city. If I don't send you, how are you going to get there? Suwon thought about it and nodded. Sorry for troubling you. It's fine. I have nothing to do anyway. Gu Jingyu sent her to a small stall selling skewers. Aimi had already started drinking. Seeing Gu Jingyu and Suwon getting out of the car, she was terrified. You too, Suwon said. We were just learning English. Aimi thought that learning English wasn't a secret code, right? Gu Jingyu said, oh, it's you. Aimi immediately said, come, Senior Jingyu. Since you're here, how can we not drink? Chapter 1561. Gu Jingyu closed the car door. Suwon looked at him awkwardly. It's fine. You can leave first if you have something to do. She originally wanted to help him find a way out of this embarrassing situation, but Gu Jingyu said, I'm fine. Let's drink together. Ai immediately was delighted. Because she was happy, she stomped her feet. Just like that, she followed Gu Jingyu and walked to the side. The stall seemed really small and a bit dirty. Suwon thought that he was a proud son of heaven. How could he eat here? But Gu Jingyu just sat down and asked faintly, what do you eat here? His calm demeanor didn't make people think that he didn't fit in with this place at all. But because of his actions, the stall seemed to have a higher status. At this time, there weren't many people here to eat skewers. This stall was also remote, so there weren't many people here usually. But some regulars came here often, so it was quiet. AI immediately said, this stall has a lot of delicious food. Here, I'll order some. Senior Jingyu, try it. It's so delicious that I want to bite my tongue off. Suwon was amused by her, but she was also wondering what he hadn't eaten before. Would he really think that this was delicious? AI immediately ordered a lot, and even ordered a lot of beer. Amy immediately looked at Gu Jingyu as she drank her beer. Her eyes were bubbling, and she looked like a happy little sister. Suwon said, Mealy, drink less. It's fine. Beer isn't intoxicating. How is that possible? As she drank, AI immediately got drunk. She wasn't completely drunk, but she started speaking carelessly. She didn't even have any misgivings towards Gu Jingyu. Senior Jingyu, do you men like this? After quarreling, you coax him. After you coax him, you still want to quarrel. What's the point? Life isn't interesting in the first place. Suwon said, okay, Mealy, didn't you say that you don't care about him? What? After coaxing him, your heart softened? I'm not soft-hearted. Not at all. As she spoke, Amy pouted her lips in a heartbroken manner. I've been with him for so many years. In the beginning, he didn't have anything and his family was so poor. His entire family's salary wasn't even as much as mine. I bought him food, drinks, and clothes. In college, when he went on vacation, I paid for everything. After he graduated, I bought him clothes for work. Later, he didn't want to work anymore and wanted to start his own business. I gave him $10,000 as capital. Now look at him. AI immediately bit her lip and said, now that he's making more money than me, is he looking down on me? AI me had actually been waiting for him to propose. The two of them had been together for so many years, and they had long reached the point where they were talking about marriage. They had talked about enough love. However, that man never took the initiative. Marriage was such a simple thing. They could just hold hands and go directly to the Civil Affairs Bureau. However, he never opened his mouth. Every time AI Me said something, he felt that she was forcing him to marry her, so his tone became very unpleasant. AI Me Lee was actually forcing him to marry her, because she really wanted to have a family. But when she heard him say in an impatient tone, "Don't you just want to get married? Fine, I'll go book a hotel and we'll get married. Okay?" AI Millie felt like she was really ugly. It was as if she was begging him to marry her. AI Millie felt that the two of them shouldn't get married like this. Therefore, AI Millie said that they wanted to break up. The man said, "Okay, let's break up. Don't regret it in the future." The two of them broke up just like that. But now, the man came looking for her again. AI Millie felt like she had endured enough. Every time she saw their chat history, she felt like she had enough. However, she felt terrible inside. AI Millie said, "Tell me, does he still like me, or does he not want to be a sinner, so he keeps trying to reconcile with me?" "You should know this better than me," Suwon said. AI Millie bit her lips. "I'm just afraid that one day, I'll just be a responsibility in his heart. Because I helped him before and didn't leave him during his most difficult times, I became his benefactor. He doesn't want to bear this debt, so he doesn't want to break up with me." Yeah, actually, didn't she know it herself? But she still wanted to lie to herself. "Okay, Millie, stop drinking. You said that beer doesn't get you drunk." AI Millie collapsed on the ground. Suwon was speechless. "I was just saying, what should we do now?" Gu Jingyu said, "Send her back." Suwon looked at Gu Jingyu apologetically. The two of them pulled her up together. AI Millie could still walk, but she stumbled a little. Finally, they got on the car and sent her to her home. When Suwon got off, she felt that her hands were sore. She looked at Gu Jingyu. "Sorry for bringing you here, but you still have to do hard labor." "No, I think she's pretty interesting." "Yeah," she said, "she's usually a strong and lively girl. But this is the only thing that makes her vexed." Suwon drank a bit too. She leaned against the back of the chair and stretched her arms, letting out a long sigh. She didn't have to think about anything at night. After eating skewers and drinking, the sky seemed to have become lazy. Suwon looked at Gu Jingyu. "Are you used to the food?" Gu Jingyu said, "Amen. It's delicious." Suwon looked at him. She just felt that no matter what he did, he looked so harmonious. It was as if he could blend into everything very quickly. Plus, everything looked so good. Suwon said, "Let's go home." "No, I'm still taking you somewhere." "Where?" "You'll know when we get there." Gu Jingyu started the car, and soon, the two of them arrived at an empty meadow. "Ah, we can see the starry sky here." The starry sky was beautiful. Gu Jingyu opened the sunroof and put the back of the chair down. He used his arms as a pillow and lay down. Suwon said, "It's so beautiful." Gu Jingyu smiled. "It's rare to feel so relaxed. It's a waste to go home." She tilted her head and looked at him. Gu Jingyu said, "Don't look at me." "Why?" "I won't be able to resist eating you up." Duh. Suwon froze. Gu Jingyu suddenly turned his head and pulled her into his arms. He looked at her fresh face and lowered his head, kissing her softly. That sweet kiss, people cannot help but close their eyes. Suwon's lips trembled. Her heart was thumping. This man, after so many years, he had been washed clean and was still a youngster, but not long after, he let go of her. Chapter 1562. However, the next day, Suwon had just arrived at the company when someone said, "Suwon, you made big news." Suwon froze. "What news?" Suwon didn't understand. Then she saw Sunruru walk out. She looked coldly at Suwon and then said to AI Me, "Learn from her. She's able to make big news without batting an eyelid. She pretends like she doesn't care about anything. Actually, people like her are the scariest. She'll become famous. Really, I'm telling you guys, only people like her will become famous. With her schemes, it's impossible for her not to become famous." Suwon still didn't know what happened. Seeing everyone looking at her with complicated expressions, envy, jealousy, and all sorts of guesses, AI Me came over and pulled Suwon up. "Don't care about them." At this time inside, "Suwon, you're here. Come over." Suwon's manager came. Suwon froze and walked over. Everyone looked at her. She's done for. She thinks she can become famous just because she's related to Gu Jingyu? Oomph. Gu Jingyu is good friends with our President Lin. She's going to be scolded to death for using him. Yeah. Plus, people are scolding her online too. Look at who she is. Is she worthy of Gu Jingyu? Su-won entered the meeting room. You were photographed last night. Did you know? What? Su-won froze. Then she saw her manager throw a tablet over. It was the news online. She got in a car with Gu Jingyu and left, heading towards the outskirts. The verified account gossiped. The two left sweetly. It said that they got to know each other because they were filming at a coffee shop. They just got to know each other, but they couldn't wait to go on a trip together. I wonder what their relationship is. Because of this, Su-won started to get scolded. The comments were all saying, "Who does Su-won think she is? Why does everyone want to talk about our Jingyu now? Jingyu is so low-key, but people keep talking about her. Our Jingyu is really too kind. They just got to know each other, and she got together with Jingyu. Kenny isn't sincere. We have to find out who he is. We have to get rid of this evil for Jingyu." Su-won's heart sank at the comments online. Su-won bit her lips. I don't know. You and Gu Jingyu. We don't have any relationship. We just know each other. Su-won lowered her head and said. The manager sighed and said, "All right then, release a statement to say that there's nothing going on between you two." All right. Su-won also didn't want to be exposed. She thought that she had harmed him. Going to that kind of place to drink was very likely to be discovered. Su-won made a statement on Weibo. Senior Gu Jingyu and I just happen to drink together. I only respect him as a senior, and he only loves me as a junior. We have nothing to do with each other. I hope the outside world will stop making things up. Immediately, someone came up to scold him again. What do you mean? After making use of our Jingyu, you're going to leave after creating hype? It doesn't matter if you say it now. We won't agree to it if you want to create hype and use us, Jingyu. It will only discredit us. So, quickly change your words. Hype, a lifetime of negativity. When Su-won went out, she didn't expect so many people to watch her. In the office, AI immediately looked at her and said, "What is it? Actually, I don't think it's a big deal even if you two are together. Why are these people scolding you?" Su-won said, "It's nothing in the first place." AI immediately said, "But I think he might really be interested in you. Otherwise, why would he eat skewers with you yesterday? He's such a big shot, but he came here to eat skewers with us." Behind him, Sun Ruru came over at some point. When she heard this, she said, we're eating skewers together, and he's interested in you. Really, if the people outside heard this, they would laugh their heads off. Su-won looked up at Sun Ruru. AI immediately got up and said angrily, "Sunru, what's wrong? What's wrong with Gu Jingyu liking Su-won? What's your name?" "Huh? What's wrong with it? The whole world can see that they're not worthy. The whole world can see that. They're not worthy." Su-won's heart sunk. She thought of the warm and gentle boy in the autumn leaves. She smiled miserably and looked at Sunru. "Okay, Sunru, we don't have anything to do with each other. I've already made a statement saying that we don't have anything to do with each other. This matter will disappear soon, and no one will remember it. But at the same time, I hope you won't remind me in a weird way. I know better than anyone. What's the difference between us? I know better than anyone that I'm not worthy of him. I know myself. You don't have to keep talking about it." All of a sudden, Sun Ruru was stunned by her words. Although she didn't say it with much vigor, Sun Ruru suddenly couldn't say anything. Su-won's expression right now probably made people unable to say anything. That kind of determination, that kind of despair, made people feel that whatever they said would be asking for trouble. Su-won picked up her bag and walked out. On the other side, Gu Jingyu looked at Su-won's statement. His agent was speechless. "This is really... You too. Why did you run out to eat skewers?" And Gu Jingyu just looked at the words on it. "I only have respect for him as a senior." Curling his lips, he tossed his phone aside nonchalantly. "Okay, I won't go in the future. That's all." The agent looked at him lying on the bed and didn't know what to say for a while. The scandal lasted for a few days. The coffee shop was about to broadcast its first episode. Because of this topic, the coffee shop's ratings skyrocketed, and the filming continued after the coffee shop. Su-won was still working when she was surrounded by people. "Su-won, she's pretty in person too. Aya, let me see. Suwon, let's take a photo. Suwon lowered her head and didn't want to speak. She pretended not to hear, but her heart felt cold. Aya, so arrogant. She's ignoring people. At this time, Suwon raised her head and an egg directly hit her face. Suwon froze. Behind, a shadow quickly ran away. The egg yolk flowed down her hair and on her face. It flowed down her round chin and onto her white clothes. She stayed there, as if her soul had left her. Everything seemed to have solidified. The egg yolk entered her mouth. It was a bit bitter, just like her heart right now. And this scene, in an instant, was filmed. Sun Ruru was laughing at the back. Aimi quickly ran over. What you guys doing? Is it really okay for you guys to treat a girl like this? Chapter 1563. Oh, what you guys doing? How can you be like this? Aimi quickly ran over, but the reporters outside were already taking photos. Suwon wiped the egg yolk and pulled Aimi inside. Sun Ruru snorted and then walked in with a dark expression. This scene was still fresh in everyone's memory. Sure enough, the television immediately started broadcasting it enthusiastically. The scene of Suwon getting beaten up was replayed on the internet and was even made into an emoticon. The news wrote, Suwon and Gu Jingyu had a scandal and her fans smashed eggs in public. The fans immediately replied, she deserves it. What do you mean by a scandal? We hope that our Jingyu is happy, but no one can make use of our Jingyu. She got beaten up because she made use of Jingyu to create scandal. We can't stand people scheming against our Jingyu. Our Jingyu is so pure. You guys can't tame her as you please. Take away your utilitarian heart and stay away from our Jingyu. Suwon looked at them. In the office, the manager looked at Suwon. Although Gu Jingyu doesn't like to film anymore, he still has the most brainless fans in the country. You should be careful. Suwon nodded. Don't go out for now. We're still filming the cafe and the new drama. This is a new drama. Take it and watch it. It'll be over soon. Okay. Suwon just looked at the curses. Would anyone believe her if she said that she didn't make use of Gu Jingyu? What about Gu Jingyu? Would he believe her? Suwon turned on her phone and saw Gu Jingyu's number. She wanted to say it, but she didn't dare to call him. Suwon thought and applied for a Weibo account. She clicked on Gu Jingyu's message. She could send him private messages, but there were probably a lot of people who sent him private messages every day. She would probably be drowned in the ocean. It didn't matter. After all, she was one of those dust particles. To a bright star like him, her tiny speck of light, which was as weak as a firefly, could be ignored. Inside, she wrote, Jingyu, I think you'll never see me, hiding in this little corner, write you a letter that you're destined not to see. I think they're right. I'm not worthy of you. You are so good, so tall, so pure. You're so beautiful, so good-looking. Your eyelashes are so long. Your nose is so cute, and your mouth is so gentle. Your eyes are like the sea of stars. The boat of my eyes is always so small, so weak. Jingyu, I think they're right. From the very beginning, I've been trying to get close to you. That's why I couldn't stop myself from getting close to you. However, as I got closer to you, I realized how insignificant I am. I'm not good enough for you, at least for now. That's why I'm so resistant. I want to escape. I feel so inferior. I'm so pitiful. The current me, no matter what, is not worthy of you. But I'm already satisfied. I've gotten close to the best version of you. That's the closest I can imagine. It seems like a little fan's love for her idol. I'm already your luckiest fan. Thank you for giving me the chance to get close to you. Suwon put down the phone and leaned there. She felt a lot better after saying these words. She didn't want him to see it. That way, their relationship would still be the purest and simplest, just like how they got along these few days. It was so beautiful. At night, Gu Jingyu looked at the news online. On his side, he had already packed up his things. He watched as Suwon was beaten with eggs. He frowned and watched the scene again and again. Why didn't anyone pursue the matter of the person who beat the eggs? Gu Jingyu asked. The manager said, how are we going to pursue it now? If it's a fan, there's nothing we can do. What if it's not? This. I don't think the fans will be like this. Gu Jingyu put down the phone and thought for a moment. Get someone to investigate. Okay, I'll go look for the surveillance footage. The manager had no choice but to sigh and shake his head. You're going to leave soon. Why do you care about this? Gu Jingyu also looked at the backpack. Since it was caused by me, I have to deal with it. Are you really going to go hiking? I think it's very tiring. You should think about it. Why are you looking for trouble? What do you know? Physical exhaustion is much better than mental exhaustion. He got up and walked out. Not long after, his manager came back. You're right, he said. I looked at the surveillance footage. That person planned it from the start. He came in from the back and ran after hitting the eggs. Look, it's this guy. Did you find out who he is? I found him and went to investigate. He came out of the building and then went home. I checked the surveillance footage and found that he probably took money from a woman. This person is... Gu Jingyu looked at it. It was Sun Ruru. Gu Jingyu had an impression of her because he had seen her at the cafe not long ago. She probably thought that Suwon didn't have much power and didn't need to be too careful to frame her. That's why she did it so brazenly. However, these little tricks were used by small artists who had just entered the industry. Suwon was still a small artist right now. If she was a little higher and reached Lin Che's level, the tricks she used would be different. However, Gu Jingyu was experienced after all. These people's toys were nothing to him. Deal with this person. How? The manager said. Let her say goodbye to the circle. Okay. It was too easy to let a small artist say goodbye to the circle, especially someone like Sun Ruru. She didn't have a backer, and she would have a lot of black spots. Just find a black spot, and you can eat her up. In the afternoon, Suwon sat in the cafe, alone in silence. She was finally free, and she was looking outside with her head propped up. At this time, Gu Jingyu came. He got out of the car and walked in. The people in the cafe were watching the show, watching Suwon and Gu Jingyu. Suwon stood up in a daze. Gu Jingyu said, "Come with me." Gu Jingyu brought her to the back. Sun Ruru, right? Sun Ruru froze. When she stood up from the back, she trembled with fear. It's me. Looking at Gu Jingyu's expression, she only felt very scared. After all, compared to someone like Gu Jingyu, her status was too low. If Gu Jingyu wanted to pinch her to death, it would be as simple as pinching an ant to death. Senior Gu. Next, a document was thrown at Sun Ruru's face. I heard that you used to sit on the stage here, right? Chapter 1564. Sun Ruru still wanted to defend herself. No, Sun Ruru didn't count as a hostess. It was just that when she first entered the circle, the small management company had no place for them to make money. So they tricked them to go to this kind of place to make money. The company also became a pimp, trying to persuade them in the middle. At that time, because of their different temperament, hostesses who were trained as celebrities were very expensive. Plus, hostesses and peripherals, she earned a lot of money in those years. But since changing companies, she wanted to turn over a new leaf and sweep away these black spots. But she didn't think that someone would turn it over. She looked at Gu Jingyu. With his remarkable abilities, it was easy for him to turn over her. Sun Ruru just didn't think that Gu Jingyu would help Suwon turn over her. What do you guys want to do? Sun Ruru admitted defeat and looked at Gu Jingyu. This is my past. My family is poor, and then I was cheated. That's why I did this kind of thing. Now that I've finally gotten rid of my past, please let me go. Suwon, I beg you, help me beg Gu Jingyu. If this news spreads, I'm finished, really. Gu Jingyu sneered. Don't use poverty as a shield for everything. There are many poor people. This is everyone's choice. You chose to be a hostess and used your body to exchange for glory and wealth. I don't care about this. Your body is also your bargaining chip. However, if you frame others, you can't push this on a poor person. Sun Ruru realized that he should know something, so he came to find her. You found someone to break the eggs, didn't you? Sure enough, Sun Ruru's face became gloomy. Didn't really. If I didn't have evidence, I wouldn't have bothered to find you. Gu Jingyu snorted. Suwon looked at Sun Ruru incredulously. How can you? I have no grievances with you. You actually harm me like this. Sun Ruru was ashamed. I didn't. If Gu Jingyu wasn't present, Sun Ruru would have scolded her long ago. Anyway, if the matter was known, her face would have been gone. However, Gu Jingyu was present. How dare Sun Ruru? Su-won sneered. If I go down, what good will it do you? Su-won. She looked at Su-won. You can already take on a lot of roles, but I'm still a small character. The roles I've taken on are all just random characters. Of course I'm jealous of you. Can jealousy harm others like this? Gu Jingyu pulled Su-won. Okay, it's useless to say anything to this kind of person. Her actions have already eliminated her. Gu Jingyu looked at Sun Ruru. You can go back to your old company and continue to sell yourself for glory. What? Sun Ruru's eyes widened. Gu Jingyu said, I'll inform Lin Che about this. I believe that she can't stand it. She won't like having an artist like you in her studio. No. Sun Ruru was scared. Gu Jingyu then said to Su-won, Is there any use in talking to such a person? Fool, let's go. There's no need to talk nonsense with her. In any case, no matter what you say, she'll hate you. The more you say, the more she'll hate you. Su-won felt that Gu Jingyu was right. However, she still looked at Sun Ruru and said, Everyone can choose a wrong path. However, even if the world is so dangerous, I still feel that kindness is indispensable to a person. Su-won shook her head and followed Gu Jingyu out. Su-won looked at Gu Jingyu. Thank you for helping me find out. Otherwise, I might not know in this lifetime. I have my own special privileges, so in this industry, I can avoid a lot of things. But most people can't avoid it. If their luck is a little worse, they will disappear before they become famous. Remember, people won't remember a person who disappears. They won't remember how amazing he was in the past. They will only remember how famous the person in front of you is right now. If you don't want to be forgotten, you have to become stronger first. Su-won lowered her head. Gu Jingyu said, Maybe one day you'll understand. If you don't understand now, then forget it. All right, I've already told Lin Che that you'll be my agent from now on. What? Su-won widened her eyes and looked at him. Then you. Gu Jingyu shook his head and stuffed something into her hands. The key to the safe. All the agent's information is inside. What about you? I've decided to leave for now. Su-won looked at him in shock. Gu Jingyu said, I've decided to go hiking. I haven't decided how long it'll take, but it might be a long time. So, I don't want my agent to be laid off. I'll have to trouble you to take over. Gu Jingyu's agent, not to mention how many connections he had, just his status and means in the circle. That wasn't something that other new agents could compare to. Gu Jingyu was. Okay, I'll leave first. Go to your work. But Gu Jingyu. Su-won wanted to say something. She looked down at the key in her hands and felt her palms warm. She wanted to say it, but as she looked at him, why did she have to say it? What? Gu Jingyu lowered his head. She smiled and shook her head. I got it. I'll take good care of it. I'll treat him well, learn from him, and become stronger. Gu Jingyu smiled and reached out to ruffle her hair. I'm leaving. Goodbye. Su-won watched him leave. A touch of wetness floated in her heart, making her eyes warm up. Did he just leave like that? He didn't say how long he would be gone or when he would be back. And she was so timid and useless. She couldn't even ask why he was so good to her. She could only silently clench the key in her hands. Maybe one day, she would become very strong and powerful. She would also become more courageous. Then, she could ask him openly in front of him, Why are you so good to me? As expected, Sun Ruru was quickly removed from the studio. She even spread the news of her being on stage in the past to the circle. This time, many companies didn't dare to hire her anymore. They were worried that with these black marks, it would be difficult to deal with them in the future. As for Su-won, she accepted Gu Jingyu's change of agent. The first film he took on for her was a web drama. In it, she played the role of the sweet and lovely female lead. This time, she played the role of the sweet female lead, making her deeply rooted in people's hearts. Gu Jingyu carried his backpack. He turned on his phone for the last time and looked at the message. After that, he would throw away this phone that could receive online messages. On Weibo, there were a lot of people confessing their love. Private messages kept exploding. There were also a lot of messages and ads. Chapter 1565. However, did they like him or the one on the screen? The one they imagined was Gu Jingyu? He smiled and coldly threw the phone into the pond at the side. Then, he looked back at the blue sky of B City and boarded the plane. That Suwon should thank Gu Jingyu. She had never thought that that moment would be the turning point for her. From that day onwards, although she had many conspiracies in the circle, encountered many unvirtuous people, and seen a lot of darkness. Later on, when she thought back, she realized how naive she was in the past. She was a small fan who liked Gu Jingyu and felt so inferior that she didn't dare to say anything. Later on, she was framed and cursed by so many fans. Until now, she had fought for many roles and fought for many opportunities. During this period, she had broken the false accusations that others had made against her. When she had been used to create hype, she had defended her rights. When she had been slandered, she had also fought a lawsuit. Later on, she found out there were a lot of darkness in this circle that couldn't be avoided. When she couldn't avoid it, she could only face it herself. Gu Jingyu's manager taught her a lot of ways to face it and escape unscathed. After the autumn rain, the entire B city was cool. The annual Panda TV festival was still broadcast at this time this year. Suwon grew very quickly and became this year's panda goddess in an instant. When she got off the car, she secretly entered from the back. In order to prevent her style from being exposed in advance, she was given a separate makeup room backstage. She did it inside and watched as her manager cursed the people in front of her on the phone. She couldn't help but look at the live broadcast on her phone. It was very chaotic in front. Some people were talking about their opinions on this year's Panda Goddess during the interview. Naturally, there was no lack of Suwon's competitors among the people being interviewed. She said faintly, we don't know who the Panda Goddess is, but this is just an interaction with the netizens. It's not like it's an international award. There's no need to care so much. Then, don't you know who the Panda Goddess is? Yeah, I don't know. Saying this, she directly entered. However, the reporters weren't fools. How could they not know? At this juncture, everyone was well aware that those who could walk the red carpet were those who had failed to be selected. Everyone had vaguely guessed that the Panda Goddess should be Suwon. This year, she had starred in a period drama series that had become the best drama of the year. She had also soared to the sky and become the most popular female star of the year. Suwon smiled speechlessly at the back and put the things aside. The manager, Li Xiao, said, "These people really don't know how to lie. They're getting worse with each generation." Suwon smiled. "How many Panda TV festivals have you participated in?" It's been more than 10 years since Jingyu's first time." Suwon looked at him. "Did Gu Jingyu win the award at that time?" "Yeah, he's been very popular ever since he debuted. It's been smooth sailing all the way." Soon, the television festival began. When Suwon descended from the sky and became the Panda Goddess, there were cheers below. Many people saw her coming down and thought about how hard it had been for her all these years. From being a nobody to soaring into the sky, he had been lonely and controversial. However, in this industry, who didn't go through the same thing? Everyone looked at Suwon enviously. There were also people who snorted in jealousy. Seriously, she's in Lin Che's studio, and her manager is Gu Jingyu's top manager in the past. Of course, she's popular. This Panda Award is so boring. Last year, it was given to someone from Lin Che's studio. Does it have anything to do with her? That's right. She's Madame Gu. So what if the Panda TV festival is? We still have to suck up to her. We're just here to accompany her. What are you thinking about? You'll get used to it. When the television festival ended, Suwon walked out of the TV station. There were still many fans waiting outside to congratulate her. Suwon smiled at everyone and got into the nanny van. She was really tired. She leaned against the van and closed her eyes to rest. Li Xiao said, "If you're tired, then rest tomorrow. I'll push back your work." "What's going on these few days?" There's an interview, a poster shoot, a new movie, a new drama promotion. There's nothing else. This had already filled up all the time in this month." Suwon said, "When all these are done, can I take a break next month?" "What's wrong? Are you tired?" Li Xiao smiled at her. "Yeah, a little." "Okay." Suwon looked at him. "Oh, right, recently." Suwon's eyes moved. She wanted to ask, but she was careful every time. Li Xiao understood. "Is there any news about Gu Jingyu?" "No." Suwon fell down. "But he should be having a good time." Li Xiao said, sigh. "Seriously, this guy is too willful." He left without leaving any news. I don't know where he is right now. In short, he must be really happy. Yeah, ever since she became famous, she hadn't had a good rest. Now, she could finally rest. He must be really happy. But just where was he? Sometimes when she thought about it, she would feel that would they never have the chance to see each other in this lifetime. After being busy for a month, Soo-won finally had her first chance to rest after becoming famous. The company gave her a month to go on vacation. Soo-won carried her bag. Li Xiao said, "Be careful when you go. Don't let anything happen to you. Don't worry. I'll keep in touch with you. You can't go missing." Li Xiao said, "Last time, that damn willful ghost ran away." He also did the same thing. He just carried his bag and left without saying a word. He hasn't come back even now. Soo-won smiled. "Don't worry. I won't." Soo-won hugged Li Xiao in the end before entering the security check. The plane flew all the way to the plateau. There were simple and honest people here. There was a blue sky, a barren but vibrant desert, and a snowy mountain that many hikers loved. She got off the plane and wore sunglasses. She saw a lot of people shouting below. There were professionals escorting them on foot. Beginners loved it. She told them her name, and they looked at her. "Ah, I think you look like a person." "Huh, really? They all say that I have the face of a celebrity." Soo-won joked. Behind, someone said, "I think I've seen you before." "Ah." Soo-won laughed dryly. "Ah, I've seen you on Bantu's phone." Soo-won thought that Bantu was a fan here. Bantu's phone? Bantu isn't looking for a wife because he likes this type of girl. Ha ha. Everyone laughed. Chapter 1566. Soo-won didn't say anything and followed the walking group. She changed her name to Suzy. Everyone took good care of her. Probably because there weren't many girls, they were especially concerned about her. The mountain range stretched as far as the eye could see. The snowy mountain in the distance was covered in pure white snow. The air was so good that it felt strange. Because she was used to the smog in B City, she was a bit worried here. Worried that she liked this place so much that she didn't want to go back. Along the way, she could hear the group members talking. Many people came and didn't want to leave. Or they would come again every year. There were also many people who had been on a pilgrimage. Many people knelt all the way to the temple to see the living Buddha. But Soo-won only felt tired. Although she always exercised for the sake of her health, it was incomparable to walking on foot. Thankfully, her endurance wasn't bad. The old man caught up to her and said, "You look much better than you look." "Thank you, old man. I can't take it either." "Hee hee. Young lady, you have a good temper. Many young ladies nowadays can't make it. They have a bad temper, especially someone as pretty as you." "Young lady, are you married yet?" "No." "Do you have a partner?" "No." "Oh, look, this is my son. He's about the same age as you. He's been working for a few years and still hasn't found a partner. I urged him, but he didn't look for one. He probably hasn't met someone as good-looking as you. Take a look." Saying this, the old man handed the photo to Soo-won. Soo-won was speechless. She looked at the handsome boy and laughed dryly. He's quite handsome. She was a bit shy. She had never encountered something like this before, so she didn't know how to deal with it. Thankfully, the people in front quickly came to help. Old Wu seriously. "Why did you introduce someone to your son?" "My son doesn't have a wife either." "Come, little Sue, take a look at my." The two started arguing, and Soo-won felt even more awkward. She quickly ran to the front. The local group leader smiled and said to her, "These people can't wait to bring a beauty to their home. But you're so good-looking. You really don't have a boyfriend?" "Nope. We'll be there soon. I'll introduce you to a handsome guy." "Hey, don't look at me like that. The handsome guy I'm going to introduce to you is definitely a handsome guy. He's not any worse than a superstar. He's the most handsome guy here, and there are so many young ladies chasing after him to marry him. It's just that his personality is too solitary, and he's not easy to get along with. He's good with us men, but whenever he meets a woman, he'll have a sharp tongue." Soo-won smiled. Superstar? She had seen many of them, but sometimes a boyfriend doesn't just have to be handsome. However, it was hard for her to reject his good intentions. "Thank you in advance. Of course, I won't introduce anyone else to you. I just think that you're a little girl. You're honest, cute, and You're indeed a good match for our Banto. His name is Bantu? Yeah, he's teaching here. The children really like him. He teaches English, and he's really good at it. He came here on foot too and decided to stay. Good at teaching English? She had also met one who was exceptionally good at teaching English. Soon, they arrived at their destination. Suwon, who was too tired, gulped down water. The group leader called inside. Hey, where's Bantu? I brought a beauty for him. What beauty? A dark-skinned girl peeked her head out unwillingly. Why do you care, dark-skinned girl? If I care. You men only know how to cause trouble for Bantu. Enough. You care about him, but he doesn't care about you. Go to the side. You. Suwon could tell that the girl wasn't old. She was dark-skinned, probably because of her skin color. She didn't look ugly, but she was strong. Suwon smiled and continued to call the people inside. The girl looked in Suwon's direction. Then, with a stomp of his foot, he entered the room. Bantu, be careful. Girls who are too pretty are scourges. My mom said that. Bantu, don't listen to her. Hurry up and stop tidying up. Come out and take a look. A tall figure walked out. His honey-colored skin looked especially healthy under the strong UV rays. Then, he narrowed his eyes and looked over. Suwon also raised her head. When she saw him, she was so shocked that she covered her mouth with her hands. Goo! She almost cried out, but she quickly covered her mouth. She looked at him in shock. Gu Jingyu. Why? Was he the Banta they were talking about? She hadn't seen him for a long time, and he looked much healthier. His hair was messy, and he wore the dark-colored ethnic clothing. He looked like a Kangba man, so strong. But his gentle and sexy eyes were still the same as before. One look, and she fell for him. Gu Jingyu. Gu Jingyu. No one knew where he had gone. However, he just stayed here quietly and didn't go far, right? Hey, what's wrong? Hey, I told you. Bantu is really handsome. Are you in a daze? Everyone looked at the two teasingly. Gu Jingyu reacted first. He smiled and turned around to pat the group leader. Then he took off his gloves and tossed them to the side. His smile that showed his teeth was really nice. Suwon looked at him and felt that her eyes were starting to moisten. And him. In the blink of an eye, he walked to the side. When the person next to him saw this, he giggled and said, all right. Everyone else, move aside. The group leader also felt like this was a game. He looked at the two ambiguously and pulled the black lady away. The black lady was unwilling, but she was still pulled away. Suwon looked at Gu Jingyu. Seeing that there was no one around, she couldn't say anything for a long time. Why were you here? Gu Jingyu was the first to laugh. You came here. Where's your work? I rested for a month. Gu Jingyu smiled and looked behind him before pulling her in. Let's go. It's too sunny here. If you get tanned, Li Xiao will probably scold you to death. To artists, their skin and appearance were still very important. Yeah, he's so naggy. Suwon couldn't calm down for a long time. They entered a simple room. She could see that there were some daily necessities stacked neatly inside. On the wall, there were all kinds of photos. He was active in them. Next to him were textbooks and notebooks. With a single glance, his life was already vivid in his mind. It was simple but fulfilling. Gu Jingyu said, drink some. You must be tired after walking all the way here. I'm not tired. Suwon looked at him. As long as she could see him, everything seemed unimportant. Right now, she was only excited. How could she feel tired? Chapter 1567. So, you've been living here all this time? Yeah. Gu Jingyu skillfully used the electric kettle to boil water and said, I went to many places. Spain, Rome, South Africa, Barcelona. Then, I came here. I feel like they need me here. He brewed a cup of coffee for her. They don't need a celebrity like me here. They don't need me to be the third young master of the Gu family. They need me as a person to stay and teach them English. They like me very much. Moreover, their spoken English is getting better and better. They have also fallen in love with learning languages. This makes me feel that it's much more fulfilling than winning an Oscar. Suwon said, thank you. Can you take me there? Of course. Gu Jingyu brought her out. Outside, Gu Jingyu walked into the classroom with Suwon. Look, this is where we have class. Look, that's the field behind. They usually play football there. Many children ran out the moment Suwon entered. Hello, Teacher Banto. Teacher Banto, are you here to play football with us? Teacher Banto, who's the beautiful sister next to you? Ah, is she your girlfriend? Is she Master's wife? Haha. Suwon froze. She didn't expect everyone to look at her like that. Suwon blushed. Gu Jingyu said, Okay, stop talking nonsense. Teacher Banto, isn't she? And can I pursue her? Of course not. Gu Jingyu purposely put on a straight face. Go. If you don't leave, I'll give you more homework. The children scattered in a hubbub. Suwon turned around, embarrassed. She didn't dare to look at Gu Jingyu's face. Gu Jingyu said, Let's go and take a look at the back. There was a mountain behind them. Suwon looked down. The monks were farming and the sun was setting in the middle of the sky. Compared to the mainland, the sunset here was much later. Gu Jingyu said, The environment here isn't bad. Come and sit. Suwon sat down and felt dizzy. She began to feel drowsy, especially when she looked at the clouds and the sky. The relaxed feeling made her want to sleep even more. At this time, Gu Jingyu suddenly came over and patted her cheek. Hey, don't fall asleep. Suwon woke up and saw Gu Jingyu's handsome face magnified in front of her. He smiled and said, Do you have altitude sickness? It happens when you've just arrived. She didn't know either, but she did feel strangely sleepy. In the past, she was also very good at staying up late. Once she went to film, it was definitely not a problem for her to sleep 3 to 4 hours a day for a few days and nights. But at this moment, he was extremely sleepy. As she rubbed her eyes, Gu Jingyu smiled, walked over, and picked her up. Sigh. Suwon stared at him. He said, All right, you're really suffering from altitude sickness. Stop moving. I'll take you back to rest. Suwon looked at his face and couldn't move her eyes away. Hugging his neck, she said shyly, But I'm heavy. He smiled. I'm not here for nothing. My body works out very well. Not to mention a while, it won't matter even if I hug you for a whole day. Gu Jingyu carried her all the way to the room. Along the way, many people were looking at them, but no one screamed at him like they were in the hinterlands, and no one cursed her for not being worthy of him. When they got inside, he said that he would get ginseng for her. When they walked out, everyone had ambiguous expressions on their faces. Bantu, you're progressing really fast. You're hugging her just like that. I couldn't tell. I thought that you were too dense. So you were waiting for this one. I underestimated you. Are you going to eat wedding candies soon? Go do your own things. Gu Jingyu laughed and threw a handful of dirt at them. Here, jokes could be so casual. No one cared. Suwon sat inside. At this time, the black girl walked in. She wasn't ugly. She looked at Suwon with hostility, but she didn't make people feel annoyed. Probably because she was too sincere. She had seen too many scheming people who looked kind on the surface but were ruthless behind the scenes. Someone who had the words, I don't like you, written on her face made people feel relaxed instead. She pouted. Hey, stop pestering Brother Bantu. Suwon smiled. Why? You like him? Yes, he likes me too. Suwon said. Oh, why does he like you? He even teaches me English and cooks for me. He even helps me carry firewood. Let me tell you, in the past, countless people came here and tried to woo him, but it was useless. Don't even think about it. Do you think that just because Big Brother Banto hugged you, he likes you? Of course not. Big Brother Banto is too kind. Don't misunderstand. Suwon looked at her and thought, a lot of people like him here. Of course. She looked proud. At this time, Gu Jingyu returned. The black girl quickly said, Brother Bantu, you're back. He smiled and walked in front of Suwon. Open your mouth, he said to her. Suwon obediently opened her mouth. She watched as he placed the ginseng in her mouth. So bitter. Gu Jingyu said, It'll be tasteless in a while. There's candy here. I'll give you more after you finish eating. The black girl was about to cry. She pouted and glared at the two angrily. Gu Jingyu said, What's wrong, Ashan? Is something the matter? The black girl said, Brother Bantu, you're too bad. Woo-woo. Saying this, she ran out. Suwon giggled, looked at Gu Jingyu and said, You're still so charming here. Gu Jingyu looked at her. What nonsense are you talking about? It's true. Didn't you see? That girl likes you, so she's jealous. Gu Jingyu looked outside and then turned back. Okay, lie down and rest first. There's a party tonight, and everyone will be sleeping outside. Don't you want to attend? Of course I do. Of course I do. Then lie down obediently. Gu Jingyu pressed her down and looked at her while saying, I saw the news about you. Suwon was stunned. He said, You did well, Panda Goddess. I saw it. You're beautiful. Suwon's heart skipped a beat. No matter how well she did, she never felt that she had achieved anything. Until today, when he told her that she was beautiful. Chapter 1568. Suwon looked at him and suddenly felt that her past efforts weren't in vain. She smiled faintly and lowered her head. In an instant, it was as if she had received the sweetness of the whole world. At night, Suwon followed everyone to the bonfire party. The people here were singing and dancing, and there were also many people setting up tents. The ground here was spacious, and the moon seemed to be right above their heads. The sky was filled with stars, and it was like a dream. Many people set up space telescopes and looked at the sky. Suwon looked at Gu Jingyu. Gu Jingyu neatly set up a tent and called Suwon over to sit. Everyone who passed by said, Hey, Bantu, the tent is so small. Can fit 2 people? Screw you. Gu Jingyu looked at Suwon. You're alone. Don't listen to their nonsense. Suwon blushed. I know. What about you? Where do you live? I live next door. Banto pointed at the tent on the side. Stay with them. Oh, Gu Jingyu said, It must be hard on you these days. You have to watch one TV series after another. It's all right. I don't have anything to do anyway. Sigh, it's good to be young, Gu Jingyu said. He leaned on his arms and collapsed. Suwon said, Senior Jingyu, you were also like this 2 years ago, right? Yeah. That's why Li Xiao also said that when you're just starting to become popular, you should focus on your productions. Once you've built up your reputation, you can relax a little later on. Gu Jingyu said, Yeah, so that's how we all came to be. Suwon said, I never thought that I would become famous one day. Now, I'm already very satisfied. At least I won't starve to death. Gu Jingyu smiled and looked at her. You're so easily satisfied. Yes, of course. The two of them lay there and chatted about some of their friends over there. He still paid attention to it every day. He just watched silently and did not contact anyone. She said, Senior Jingyu, in a few times. Are you really not going back? Gu Jingyu smiled. Why? No, nothing. Suwon turned her head. Gu Jingyu was so happy to be here. Perhaps he really didn't want to go back. She, on the other hand, felt that if he was happy, she shouldn't say anything. Make him hesitate, make him sad, make him uneasy. She couldn't do any of this. Suwon lay down. Will everyone be staying here tonight? Yes, this is the camping area. How nice. I can sleep while looking at the stars. But you still have to go to the tent. It will be very cold at night. Okay, I got it. If you're tired, go in and rest. I'll go sleep over there. Suwon looked at him and nodded. However, as soon as Gu Jingyu got there, he was thrown out. Let's go, let's go. What are we doing here? This place is too crowded. Get lost, let me in. No, go quickly. That tent over there is definitely enough space for 2 people. Why are you squeezing in with us? Hey, you guys. Hurry up. Gu. Ban Tuesday. Suwon heard his voice and said to him, Why don't you come over here? The people on the other side laughed even louder when they heard that. Suwon said, I'm very small and I don't need a lot of space. This tent should be suitable. It's too crowded over there. 3 people, including Gu Jingyu, there were 4. No matter how big the tent was, it was still crowded. When the others saw this, they immediately smiled and pushed Gu Jingyu to the side. Hurry up and go. Yeah, why are you still here? If you're not going, we'll go. Yeah, if you're not going, I'll go. Saying this, that person was about to get up. Gu Jingyu pushed him back. Then he walked over to Suwon. He looked at the place. You sleep first. Okay, hurry up and come in too. This place is really big. She lay down. Gu Jingyu looked and then turned back to see those rascals still unzipping at the entrance, making faces at Gu Jingyu and watching the show. Gu Jingyu made a gesture of stretching out his fist before walking into the tent. Suwon leaned to the side. Gu Jingyu lay down, lying flat and looking at the top of the tent. He said faintly, Go to sleep. Okay. Suwon laid on her side, looking at Gu Jingyu. The two of them were so close to each other, quietly listening to the people outside talking and singing. Someone was playing the guitar. That voice was so moving. Suwon thought that maybe he wouldn't go back in this lifetime. Perhaps he would rather be a Bantu than be Gu Jingyu. She closed her eyes and felt her way to his hand. Gu Jingyu paused. Suwon said, "Shoo." Only this time, she wanted to be close to him. She didn't need to think too much. She just followed her heart and kept getting closer to him. Gu Jingyu's hand held her hand, very tight. She could hear him swallowing. She bit her lips, feeling that she had never been so daring. But this time, she didn't know if it would be the last time. She looked at his face through the night sky. In the darkness, his eyes were as dazzling as starlight. His scent was the scent of a man. It was like the sunlight, so nice to smell. He pinched her, and when he kissed her lips, their tongues couldn't help but intertwine together. The tent didn't move. The people outside were still looking on curiously. Bantu wouldn't really not touch him for the entire night, right? Seriously, then he's going to become a Buddha, right? Ha! Do you think everyone is like you? Ah, sure. Don't tell me there's a sound. In the tent, Suwon bit her lips tightly. His body collided with hers again, and her eyes trembled. But because she was worried that she would cry out, she bit her lips and didn't move. Until the second day. When she woke up, in the crook of his arm, she could smell the scent of green grass, the scent of sunshine, and his scent. Suwon looked at his face greedily. She really hoped that this day would never end. However, the sun would always rise. The clamor outside would always start. Everyone came out of the tent one after another. Gu Jingyu also woke up. The two couldn't shower at night. Suwon, who still carried his scent, felt embarrassed. When she opened the tent, the sunlight seeped in. Outside, the people next door were looking at Gu Jingyu with ambiguous expressions. However, the two didn't move much at night. They were also suspicious, but not sure. Gu Jingyu didn't say anything and brought Suwon inside to wash up. For a day, Suwon watched Gu Jingyu's life. In class, after class, other than teaching them English, she also taught them history, geography, and sports. The children really liked Gu Jingyu. After class, they still pestered him. Chapter 1569. But the children here were really poor. Their clothes were really old. Their lunch was really simple. A bag of pickled vegetables was enough for a few of them to eat. She drank the soup and ate the dry rations. She looked so adorable and brave. But when they saw Gu Jingyu, they were still so happy and enthusiastic. They seemed to be full of desire to learn. Suwon thought about why Gu Jingyu said that they needed him here. They really needed him. They didn't just need an illusory idol. At night, Gu Jingyu came in and looked at Suwon. "Do you want to take a shower?" "It's not easy to take a shower here. I told the school to get you a private bathhouse so you could take a shower there." Usually, a few people took a shower together. He was worried that she wouldn't be used to it. Suwon said, "Thank you." She smiled and walked out. When she reached the door, she turned around. "All right, I'm going back." Gu Jingyu's hand paused. He turned around and smiled faintly. "Really? Do you have work to do?" "Yeah, I can't leave for too long." "Amen. I'll drive you there." Suwon didn't dare to stay. She was afraid that if she stayed, she wouldn't even want to leave. She couldn't bear to leave. She wasn't willing. Or she had to be unreasonable and ask him to leave too. What should she do then? She couldn't delay his matters. On the day of her departure, everyone came to send her off. Someone looked at Gu Jingyu and touched him. "Bantu, you're letting such a good wife go?" Bantu looked at him. "Don't talk nonsense." "Huh, you really think that no one knows?" He looked at Gu Jingyu. "I didn't hear anything that night, but I helped you pack up the tent. I saw what happened inside." Gu Jingyu slowly clenched his fists. In the end, he still calmly let go. "She has her job. Then can you go? Actually, there's no meaning here. It's a waste of your talent to be an English teacher." Gu Jingyu looked at Suwon. She was saying goodbye to someone. Her smile was like the bright sun in spring. He shook his head and didn't say anything. The airport here was really small. When they arrived, there were mostly tourists. He helped her carry her luggage, collect her ticket, and check it in. After everything was done, he said to her, "Be careful on the road. You're alone and didn't bring your assistant. It's best if you don't get recognized. Don't worry, it's a direct flight. Li Xiao will pick me up when I arrive. Okay, remember to say hello to him. Tell him that I'm fine here and that he doesn't need to worry. And you too. Suwon didn't dare to look at his face, worried that she would accidentally choke with sobs. All right, I will. The two of them really had to say goodbye. Suwon looked at him. He also looked at Suwon. After a while, he said, this time, you slept with me and then ran away, right? Ugh. What? Gu Jingyu smiled and waved his hand. Go in. He pushed her into the security checkpoint. Then he said, develop well. And you have to look at me. You have to look at me. Yes. Suwon really went inside, picked up the documents, and went to go through the formalities. However, she couldn't stop her tears from flowing down. Why was it that she never dared to say what she wanted to say? Liking someone was so simple, but it was so difficult. She hated herself for being weak and timid. However, she was only worried that the moment she said it, everything would go up in smoke. She couldn't even be friends. What should she do? Gu Jingyu watched as she entered. Her small figure slowly disappeared into the crowd. Gu Jingyu leaned against the railing. She said that he had to look at her. He took out his phone and downloaded Weibo. He hadn't used it for a long time. He usually only watched the news when he had nothing to do. Other than that, he basically didn't use his phone as a social tool. After downloading it, he thought about it. His number was still there. He went in and found that no one had entered it. That Weibo was still that popular Weibo. A few years ago, people surged asking where he was. Later on, only some simple greetings were left. He seemed to have forgotten that he was Gu Jingyu. He looked at these news as if he was looking at other people's affairs. However, as he was paddling, he suddenly saw a confession letter. There were a lot of private confessions. He saw them every day back then, so he didn't think much of it. Now that he really broke away, he patiently looked at it carefully. Jingyu, I think that you will never see me, who is in this little corner, write this letter to you. You are destined not to see it. I think that they are right. I'm not worthy of you. Gu Jingyu's heart shook. He quickly opened the number. He applied for this number a long time ago, but it was also a secondary account. There was nothing inside. The avatar was that of an obedient little white rabbit. Silently, it reflected the image of a person. Gu Jingyu continued to read. He flipped to a deeper message. As expected, he saw it. Other than him, this secondary account would also look at a person's information and pay attention to another person. That person was Suwon. Gu Jingyu looked in front of him. The plane had already taken off. There was only one direct flight to Be City every day. Suwon arrived at the airport and saw Li Xiao as expected. There were also many fans who came to pick her up. Suwon, look here. Suwon, wow, I actually met Suwon. When he came out, there were many people surrounding him. Li Xiao had no choice but to ask the security guards to come and help. It was not easy for them to walk out of the crowd. In the nanny car, go home or go back to the company. Let's go to the company. Aren't there things that haven't been arranged yet? Suwon said, yeah, how was it? Did you enjoy it? There wasn't anything strange on the way. Suwon looked outside and smiled. Yes, I met someone. Who are you? You can't be a swindler, right? Suwon smiled mysteriously but didn't tell him. Forget it. Don't say any more. If he told her he was there, Li Xiao would probably go crazy. If she really want to look for him, wouldn't it be over? He liked that place, and the only thing she could do was to leave him a piece of pure land. Nothing else mattered. As she spoke, she smiled and went to discuss work with Li Xiao. The next day, because she came back early, she was going to participate in the recording of a program. Originally, you weren't even on the show, but now that you're back, I went through a lot of trouble to get you on the show. You've been gone for a while now, so you don't know. Recently, there's been a lot of defamation going around in the industry. A few people have been defamed, and their dark histories have been dug up. It's really messy. Suwon nodded. After entering, everyone looked at Suwon, and as expected, they started mocking her. Panda Goddess is here. Didn't you say that you went to purify your soul? It's still Suwon. You know that people are going to slander you after you got the title of Panda Goddess, so you quickly avoided it. You've escaped. Haven't you seen how messy it's been recently? Suwon smiled. Really? Didn't I learn it from the seniors? The few people were stumped and chuckled. Chapter 1570. In the program, the feeling that Soo-won always gave people was that she was a well-behaved girl. In the current environment, everyone loved to show off the image of a foodie or a self-righteous and down-to-earth appearance or a lofty goddess image. A well-behaved girl like her wasn't popular in the first place. However, she relied on her well-behaved aura to make people feel that she was like the little sister next door. She managed to carve out a different path. Everyone asked her questions during the interview. Are you single right now? Yeah, I haven't had time to date anyone. Then, do you want to date anyone? Of course. I also want to have a relationship that lasts forever, but I also know that it's hard. Therefore, I don't have anyone to date for now. Then, what type of guy does Won like? Soo-won nodded. I like guys who are sunny and look good when they smile. When they open their arms, they can envelop my body. When they warm me up, they silently. Listen, do you already have someone like that by your side? The host asked ambiguously. No. Soo-won shook her head. However, an image appeared in her heart. Under the strong, ultraviolet rays, that smile was so beautiful. It was as if all the beauty in the world was concentrated in his eyes. After the interview ended backstage, flowers, cards, and toys were piled up in the dressing room. Gifts, flowers, cards, and toys were all from fans. There's something for Soo-won here. Soo-won, there's something for you from a fan. Look. Soo-won saw a few too. However, there was one thing that she found familiar at first glance. Prayer wheel. She suddenly remembered that there were these things everywhere on the plateau. The plateau was where she left her dreams. She took a step forward and picked up the prayer wheel. She looked at it carefully. It was indeed the kind of prayer wheel that was often seen on the highlands. There were some in the temples. She picked it up and spun it, making a crisp jingling sound. She picked it up and remembered something. Who gave this to you? I don't know. Someone came just now. I told them to leave it here and then let them go. It looked like a rather tall person, and he wore sunglasses. I don't know who he is either. Rather tall, and he wore sunglasses. Soo-won's heart moved, and she hurriedly said to Li Xiao, I'll go out for a bit. Hey, where are you going? The van is still outside. Soo-won ran out. The streets were crowded with people. A building full of neon lights. In a dazzling shopping mall. As she walked, she looked around. However, he didn't see anyone he wanted to see. There were so many people, but she only wanted to see that one. Someone seemed to be playing music by the roadside. The wandering singer was playing the guitar. She went up and heard the man singing, The good times are always too short. And then I'm leaving. Please don't cry, even if we have to part. Don't let the tears wet the memory all because of your affirmation. The sky is so beautiful I will not forget every suspense and breath because blessed love shall continue spread my wings to fly alone carrying the baggage of parting and everyone's dreams right now. I just want to tell you, I will always love you and fulfill your wish. Thinking of you brightens my dreams. When I am tired I will always love you and never let you down. Your love is what warms me all because of your affirmation. The sky is so beautiful I will not forget every suspense and breath because blessed love shall continue spread my wings to fly alone carrying the baggage of parting and everyone's dreams right now. I just want to tell you, I will always love you and fulfill your wish. Thinking of you brightens my dreams. When I am tired I will always love you and never let you down. Your love is what warms me. Soo-won closed her eyes and listened quietly for a long time. Then she took out a bill from her pocket and put it in his box. Not far away, on the suspension bridge, the person who was traveling looked a bit sad. In this city where there were fewer and fewer people, there were many people who were fighting for their dreams. Hurriedly, rushing toward his own life, she slowly lowered her hand, feeling that everything might be just her imagination. He was far, far away. She could only continue to miss him and look into the distance. However, the sound of the prayer wheel rang again. She couldn't help but look up. At a glance, she saw the tall person standing on the suspension bridge, smiling at her from afar. Even from such a distance, she seemed to be able to feel the warmth in that smile. Gudata's name was already at the tip of her lips. She ran forward regardless of the consequences. She ran all the way to the side of the bridge. However, as she got closer and closer, she still felt a little timid and didn't even dare to move forward. But she saw him smiling slightly. As if encouraging her, he stretched out his arms. His arms were just wide enough to completely envelop her. Suwon directly ran over. In an instant, she jumped into his arms. He picked her up in one swift motion. The people on both sides were still looking at each other. They suddenly turned their heads and watched him hugging her and spinning in circles. Then they let go of each other, raised their heads, looked at each other, and smiled. He lowered his head, held the back of her head, and kissed her lips. As for why he came back and why he was here, she didn't want to ask those questions anymore. In short, he was already here now. Gu Jingyu said later that he saw her Weibo post. He said that he decided to come back here for her. Then, what about those who needed him? She asked him. He said, teachers could be replaced by many people. They could also be other people. But she only had him in the dark bar. Hey, look over there. Who came in? It's a beauty. You only know how to look at beauties. Where's she? She's a beauty. Look if you don't believe me. Hey, she looks so familiar. Mu Firen? Oh, we're so lucky to see a celebrity in a bar. Let's go and take a look. However, they were just about to go over. All of a sudden, the people around them stood up. What were you guys talking about? What celebrity did you see? Who are you guys going to see? The group was dumbfounded. They just wanted to tease the celebrity. Why do half of the people in the bar stood up? They didn't want to be ganged up on. The few of them sat down obediently and looked outside curiously. Only then did the few of them snort. They wanted to bully their sister-in-law? Didn't they know where they were? After a while, when he saw Mu Firen again, she had already walked out with the Black Hawk. Only then did they seem to understand something. Today, half of the bar was filled with Black Hawk's people. Because Black Hawk was in the bar, they followed him. At this time, they were glad that they didn't go over just now. Otherwise, they would have broken their arms and legs by now. Mu Firen looked at the people outside. She shook her head speechlessly. However, she was already used to these people, especially when they respectfully called her sister-in-law, and so on. Mu Firen had been called the box office poison recently, so she was used to it. In this industry, sometimes luck was a big problem. When she was popular in the early years, she was also lucky. She came across a good script with good effects and good publicity. But now, she didn't know whether there was something wrong with her eyes or her acting skills were really bad. Every script she came across was rubbish, and she was scolded every time. She was directly called the box office poison and didn't dare to take any role casually, for fear that the box office of others would not be good. Chapter 1571. In Mu Firen's company. During the meeting, they all felt sorry for the future of Mu Firen Studio. Even though Mu Firen wasn't there, they were still talking about it. Sister Firen is so unlucky. Alas, several movies failed at the box office in a row, and the TV series was said to be rubbish. The special effects are worthless. What's wrong with the production unit? They boasted about it every day, but it turned out to be like this. Isn't it because they're really unlucky? Look at the last TV series, The Immortal Pen. Halfway through the production, the investor withdrew their investment. Halfway through, the investor suddenly changed. They quarreled for a month before they started again. It would be a wonder if they could do well. As for the other TV series, The Masked Hero, halfway through the production, the male lead quit and went to film some blockbuster with another producer. When the actor was changed, the director was so angry that he didn't want to continue. Yeah, it's undeniable that Sister Firen is good at acting and works hard in each TV series. But she can't stand these people. So now it's like this. I think I want to resign. It's too difficult. It wasn't that Mu Firen didn't hear the conversation inside. Standing outside, she paused for a moment and sighed. Although she didn't care about it, these people still depended on her to make a living. That the people inside didn't know that Mu Firen was listening outside, so they continued to talk. A few days ago, someone came to ask if her Firen would go to the reality show. He said it was a rare opportunity. I took a look and found that the center of the reality show is a newcomer, the rising star. Oh, Benju and I don't think it's appropriate for our Sister Firen to stand beside her. But they invited Firen to participate in this reality show because they want to raise their status. Otherwise, who would dare to invite Sister Firen casually? Yeah, but I don't dare to tell Firen that Sister Firen will be their foil. Okay, let's talk about it later. There's a party just now, and we have to go there. That's what we're going to talk about today. Let's get ready. They prepared for the party and didn't say anything else. Firen sighed and didn't respond. When she got home, she saw several people knocking wooden stakes and cleaning up the yard for her. Taking a closer look, if it wasn't someone from Black Hawk, who could it be? The 13 brothers under Black Eagle were people who had gone through fire and water with Black Eagle since a long time ago. Now that things were a lot more peaceful, they had all become small leaders in the organization, and each of them was doing better than the other. Usually, when they went out on the streets, many people would respectfully greet them. Among them, there were also 2 who were already working in the business world, going out to make their own careers. Blackhawk was very supportive of this. Blackhawk was happy that his brothers could develop on their own. Perhaps it was because of this that Black Shadow was very considerate of them. That was why everyone respected Black Hawk so much. They didn't seem to be forced at all and just followed Black Hawk wholeheartedly. However, the current scene made Firen feel strange. These people were shirtless and working as repairmen here. This was really you. Firen was used to it. When these people were standing here, the neighbors who passed by would look at them strangely, but they didn't dare to approach them. Needless to say, they were here to help her with the work in such a disguise. Sister-in-law, you're back. We saw that the wooden stakes in the yard are about to break. We have to repair them. Let's do it. Duh. Firen said hurriedly. If there's nothing else, I'll ask someone to come and cultivate. No need. If we can't do such a small thing, we won't have the face to follow boss. Yes, wouldn't it be better to ask a professional to repair such a small thing? Firen wanted to say that if others saw them repairing things, they would really think that. She was forcing them to work because she was their sister-in-law. Once, the neighbor next to her told the woman in the supermarket. She said that after Firen got together with the mafia boss, she became very arrogant and made Firen work every day, treating her as a lowly worker. Firen was really... How could she want them to work? It was forget it. Firen went in and said, "Where's your boss?" "Oh, sister-in-law. He's repairing your TV inside." Who was the one who started this trend? Firen went in. When she saw that he was repairing the TV, it turned out that in the warehouse, he stood there with his back bent. His upper body was naked and there were oil stains on his body. He was wearing gloves and holding tools as he unloaded the machine. He looked serious and focused. He looked down at the things on the machine, dismantled every part, put them in place, and studied them carefully. She looked for a while and said, "What are you doing?" He turned his head and looked at Firen. He smiled and waved at Firen. "Come have a look." Firen walked over. He said, "It's useless to watch TV. I want to dismantle it for Yun and make an electric scooter for her." "Ah, you can do that? Of course, some small parts can be used, but the big ones are useless. I'll put them aside and see what else I can assemble in the future." Firen looked at him. "I didn't know that you could do this." Black Eagle studied the parts and said, "I used to dismantle a lot of things when I repaired other people's cars." Firen heard from Lin Che that Black Eagle was abandoned when he was young. After he was adopted by the enemy family, he was left outside to grow up on his own. How many years had it taken for him to grow from an unknown brat to the Black Eagle that he was today? Firen felt bitter. She felt as if she had never accompanied Black Eagle through any hardships, but she was already enjoying his current status. She sat down and said, "Let me help you. Don't dirty your hands. It's okay. I'll just wash it." She tilted her head and looked at him. "Were you this fierce when you repaired other people's cars?" He smiled, looked at her, and said, "Yeah, I just fixed it for a few days and got into a fight. Then I went to another place, got into another fight, and got chased out. After that, I went to another city." Firen was speechless. "Why did you get into a fight? I was young after all. What happened after that?" Black Eagle lowered his head and said, "I just joined a club." She also understood what the so-called society was. She said, "How old were you when you started working outside?" Black Eagle said, 13. Only 13. Firen felt awkward again. She thought angrily, Why did those people push me out when I was so young? Chapter 1572. Haing looked at Mu Fearon. What are you thinking about? Didn't you say you were going to help me? Come here and get me something. Oh, okay. Mu Fearon stopped looking at him and hurriedly helped him. Although Mu Fearon came from a poor family, she had never experienced any particularly dangerous times. At worst, she had to work so hard that she couldn't eat. She always felt that Hei Ying's dark situation, where she could die at any moment, was something that could only be seen in movies. Hei Ying worked with her, and soon, they really built an electric scooter. It was just a simple one and looked very crude. But Yin was still very happy and looked very proud when she went out to ride it. She kept telling others that it was an electric scooter made by her family. Mu Fearon looked at it and smiled. Although Hei Ying was already the overlord of a region, he was still very childish, which was really strange. Mu Fearon went to the party that night. Hei Ying walked her to the door. When she entered, she sat there and saw that the people were still discussing how to arrange a big shot like her. This kind of scooter must be placed in the middle. That won't do. Xiezhang Zhuang is very popular now. If we don't put it in the middle, her fans will be very noisy. Then put it next to her. No, Ergu is also very popular now. But Sister Fearon has a high status. It's not suitable to put it next to her. Yeah, that's why I'm very worried. Mu Fearon could only move to the back. Since when did she become someone who made people worry about a position? At this moment, Lin Che arrived. She was here as a producer. Seeing Mu Fearon from afar, she hurriedly called out, Fearon, Fearon. Seeing Lin Che, everyone hurried to greet him. Lin Che hurriedly said, No, I'm the producer today. Don't take pictures of me. Everyone knew that Lin Che didn't want to be photographed. Actually, it wasn't her job today. Lin Che walked in with Mu Fearon. The two of them sat together and didn't care about the others. Mu Fearon looked at the stage. The newly promoted Xiao Hua was smiling and fooling around as she faced the camera with a radiant smile. She smiled and said, They say that conquering a country is easy, but defending it is difficult. In the past, I never thought about how difficult it was. She felt that Lin Che had chosen the right path. Slowly, he only acted in the TV series that he wanted to act in and spent the rest of his time managing the company. Today, Lin Che's company had already launched a few young male idols. It was second to none in the industry. However, Mu Fearon had long known that this day would come for her. How early was it? On the day she entered the industry and became famous, she already knew about it. In the Yangtze River, the waves behind drive on the waves in front. How many artists had such a day? They went from exploding in popularity to becoming silent. Later on, they had all the glory they deserved and became seniors in the industry. At the same time, they were no longer the ones who were always mentioned in the crowd. Mu Fearon had been like that recently. Her life had already reached another stage, and it was exactly like this, the ebb and flow of the tide. Lin Che, on the other hand, was at the stage where he was doing well, which was different from her. Mu Fearon said, I think I should think about what I should do now that I've reached this stage. Lin Che knew that she had been suffering recently. Because the box office had been failing badly, her reputation had been dragged down to the bottom. Lin Che pulled her and said, You just have to be happy in everything you do. If you don't like it, just let it go. Mu Fearon smiled bitterly and said, I used to think so too, but now that I think about it, it's not just about me. Look, my studio is still here, my manager, my team, my reputation is their reputation, and my reputation is their reputation. I can choose to quit, but they can only quit at this time. So, Mu Fearon looked ahead and said, I think I can't let it go on and I can't retreat anymore. Lin Che said, Then you. I think I have to plan for my future. I can't let it go on like this. She had been too careless in the past and didn't care so much. But now, she felt that it was necessary for her to stand up and fight for everyone again. After all, I work for your company. I can't let you lose money, can I? Mu Fearon said with a smile. Forget it. You can lose money. Although Mu Fearon wasn't making a lot of money like those celebrities, she was definitely making money. Mu Fearon didn't ask for much at this party. She kept a low profile all the way and tried not to let the organizers worry. The organizers were still wondering why Mu-Firen was so easy to talk to today. Does she really know that she's past her prime? That's why she's so easy to talk to. That's really self-aware. Everyone thought so. Of course, they were happy that Mu-Firen didn't make trouble for them. At least the party could be completed smoothly. In the company, when Mu-Firen entered, she saw that everyone was waiting for her politely. Sister Firen, you did well at the party. Thank you for your hard work. Do you want to have coffee? Mu-Firen looked at the people inside, leaned against the wall, and looked inside. There's a reality show. I heard that they're contacting us, right? The people's jaws almost dropped. They looked at Mu-Firen. How did she hear about it? They just felt that it was beneath them and didn't want to tell Mu-Firen. I'll join. You guys get ready, Mu-Firen said. The people inside hurriedly stood up. Looking at Mu-Firen, she said, but I don't think they'll give us a lot of shots. It doesn't matter. I can't take on a TV show now, so I can't stay idle. I'll shoot a reality show and have some fun for myself. Everyone looked at her gratefully. They didn't expect that Mu-Firen would suddenly take the initiative to shoot a reality show. Now that Mu-Firen had something to do, they also had something to do and didn't have to stay idle every day. In the evening, Mu-Firen sat there and read the information about the reality show. She also found some other reality shows to watch. Otherwise, she was worried that she wouldn't perform well in such a show since she hadn't done it for a long time. Black Hawk came in and couldn't help smiling when he saw her working so hard. What are you watching? A reality show. You're going to do it? Yeah, I'll start all over again. Anyway, I've already been famous. I'm more experienced than those little fresh meats and actresses, right? Black Hawk smiled and sat down. That's right. If you want to do it, you can definitely do it. Mu-Firen looked at Black Hawk. When you go out, you don't think about what kind of person you'll become or whether you'll succeed. But as long as you keep doing it slowly, you'll succeed. As long as you have this goal, you didn't know that you'd be here one day, did you? That's right. Black Hawk looked at her. When I went out, I was poor and had nothing. I was young and full of vigor. I only knew that I had to find someone to take revenge on. This person is very powerful. If I don't become powerful, I might not be able to see him even once in my life. So, Black Hawk stood on the street for the first time and looked at the lonely, long street alone. It seemed that the future was this long street, with no end in sight and darkness. It was still vivid in his mind. Chapter 1573. At that time, the only thing in his pocket was the 1,000 yuan they had left him, as well as the words they had said before they left. If you want revenge, you have to see if you have the ability to do so. Nothing else mattered. Even if he lost his life, they wouldn't care. Thus, Black Eagle quickly found a place to stay. If he wanted revenge, he had to survive first. However, misfortune never came alone. The first time he looked for a place to stay, he was cheated. It was supposed to be 500 yuan a month, but he said that he didn't have any money. Could they give him 500 yuan a month? Seeing that he was so young, the man agreed. He thought that he had met a kind-hearted person, but when he arrived at the place, he found that what awaited him was a group of people who beat him up. Seeing that such a young man was looking for a place to stay, the man thought that he must have no money and no one to rely on. Thus, he snatched away the remaining 1,000 yuan he had on him. He felt like he was dying as he lay on the ground. He thought mockingly, am I going to die before I even see my enemy? He lay there for an unknown amount of time. There were no coincidences or kind-hearted people who came to help him. In the end, he used the last of his strength to get up. This was the first lesson he had learned to walk out of society. No one could be trusted. There were no kind-hearted people in this world. They were all bastards driven by profit. After that, he was so hungry that he stood at the door and looked at the buns, drooling. The boss laughed and said, "Hey, little one, come here. Call me Daddy, and I'll give you buns to eat." Black Eagle was amused. His daddy was the person he wanted to kill. Did this person want to be his daddy? He narrowed his eyes and looked at the man in front of him. The man felt goosebumps under Black Eagle's stare, but he thought that Black Eagle was just a teenager. What could he do? He said, "You dare to look at me like that?" Puffed. He spat on Black Eagle and chased him away. "Go away. If you don't go, I'll kill you and make you eat shit here. As he said that, he took something from the side and hit him in the face. Black Hawk still didn't leave. He stared at the steam bun. The boss was frightened and kept scolding. What are you doing? Do you want to eat it? Crawl under my crotch, and I'll let you eat it. Otherwise, get lost. But at this moment, Black Hawk suddenly grabbed a basket of boiling hot steamers and threw it directly at the owner. The boss screamed. It was too hot. Haying couldn't care less. He grabbed the 2 buns and ran out. You're robbing. Damn brat. I'll kill you when I catch you. Along the way, Black Hawk stuffed buns into his mouth. After finishing them in one bite, he wasn't that hungry anymore. This was the first time he ate outside. He knew that he would have to live like this for the rest of his life. But he had to keep going. Later on, he stayed at the garbage station under the overpass. It was very smelly and dirty, but he found a job helping people move bricks. He earned a few dozen yuan a day. He thought that as long as he saved enough money and continued to move forward, he would one day be able to rent a house, find a job, have food to eat, have a place to sleep, that as for revenge, it was something that he could only think about later. Right now, he just wanted to live. He wouldn't mention these things to anyone anymore. He would only talk about it briefly, but he wouldn't tell them what it was like at that time. He smiled and looked at Mu Fearon. I'll support you in whatever you want to do. Mu Fearon nodded. Yeah, it's just a reality show. It won't be a problem for me. The fact that Mu Fearon was going to participate in a reality show was already shocking enough. However, reality shows were more popular now. Many people who were past their prime were still using this opportunity to gain new resources and popularity. Actually, Mu Fearon wasn't that past his prime. He just couldn't make it to the top or the bottom. Her status was still there, but her popularity had declined, and she was labeled as a box office poison. When she came to participate in the show, she saw 2 young stars, Rui Shui and Zhang Tianming, as well as a host, a male idol singer, and a small action star. They were going to the countryside together. They had already heard that Mu Fearon might be coming. Thus, they were still speaking amiably inside the room. I grew up watching Sister Fearon's TV series. Yeah, I also look up to Sister Fearon as a role model. We're so lucky to be able to participate in the show with Sister Fearon. But secretly, they were still a little worried. They thought that Mu Fearon was just past her prime, but her status was still there. When the time came for the publicity, they would have to rely on her. How should they deal with her? And a series of other things. Just as they were thinking about it, Mu Fearon arrived. The cameras will be ready soon. When she arrived, the cameras naturally had to be pointed at her. Everyone ran over like little fans. Because it was rare for Mu Fearon to participate in the show, it was obvious that the show valued her. But when it came to the publicity, she thought that she wouldn't be the first one. Although everyone was curious about what she would do in real life, the number of fans had decreased, so they were more curious about the temperament of these young stars. The show was about a few people going to live in the countryside, fight for resources in the countryside, and compete for the position of a team leader. This was a show where there was unity and also conflict, so it was easier to create hype. Mu Fearon was about to set off, and Rui Shui had been staying here. She was less popular than Zhang Tianming, so she had made up her mind to get closer to Mu Fearon. Then, there would definitely be more cameras and people talking about them. She looked at Mu Fearon and said, Sister Fearon, how do you take care of your face? You look like a high school student. Mu Fearon knew that people were filming her all the time. She smiled and said, Oh, you must be talking nonsense because you respect me. I know what you're doing. If only you were really a high school student. Just then, Yu Minmin called. Rui Shui wanted to say something, but Mu Fearon said, Wait, Min Min is calling me. Rui Shui paused. Then, she saw the film crew running over. Oh, is it Mrs. President? Can we listen to it while we film? Rui Shui thought to herself that Mu Fearon had such a wide network in the industry. So, she wanted to stick close to her even more. Mu Fearon said quickly, Of course, it's okay. Yu Minmin had been in the industry for so many years, so she knew how to speak on camera. Yu Minmin said, Fearon, are you here yet? Has the show started? I'm at home taking care of my child, so I can't send you off. Chapter 1574. Then, Mufirin said, "Yeah, the show has started and we're filming now. Come and say hello to everyone." "Ah, it's already starting." Yu Minmin put on an act for a while before saying, Didn't everyone hear what I said? Seriously, I didn't bring a child with me. I'm a young and pretty girl who's shopping, going to bars, and dating men. I haven't become a housewife yet." Mufirin laughed out loud. "Is it okay for Mr. President to hear that?" "Yeah, cut that part out. Actually, I'm taking care of a child, and I'm a good wife and a loving mother." When the director heard this, he quickly let them continue. Mufirin said, "Don't worry, there will be an assistant following us." The director said, "No, no one is allowed to follow us. You go alone." Mufirin looked surprised. "Ah, I can't follow you? I thought the assistant." "You go alone. Your phone will be confiscated later." "Ah," Yu Minmin said, "Ha ha ha ha. Don't you know that? Don't turn into a village woman when you're there. People already said that you're a box office poison. You're only beautiful now. If your image is ruined, what should we do?" Screw you. That's impossible. I'll definitely bring a bunch of facial masks. I won't become a village woman." When everyone heard this, they felt that this was a true friend. How could they dare to say that she was a box office poison, especially on the show? However, Mufirin was not angry at all. She just smiled and raised her head to ask the director, "Do you have a makeup artist? My image can't be ruined." The director said cruelly, "No, you can do it yourself. No, I want to go home. I don't want to do it anymore." This scene would definitely not be cut out in the future. The effect would definitely be very fun. Although the people on the side were small stars, they weren't as experienced as Mufirin. Therefore, some of them didn't perform well in reality shows, and the ones who performed well were the seniors. Mufirin went to the village with the others. As expected, there was nothing there, and the filming was quite concentrated. It was very tiring. As expected, Rue Shui had been sticking to Mufirin since the first day of filming. Mufirin's performance was quite real. She kept saying that she wanted to maintain her image by putting on facial masks and doing beauty treatments every day. At first, people were confused and thought that she really wanted to maintain her image. However, as time went by, her image was shattered. All of a sudden, it formed a sharp contrast with her previous image, which made people feel very emotional. The director even said in private that Mufirin deserved to be called Mufirin. Look at his ability. Previously, she really didn't want to do it properly. Otherwise, with her EQ and IQ, how could she have become outdated? On the way, Yu Minmin called her again and told her what she needed to pay attention to. Yu Minmin said, "Your agent is still too inexperienced. It's useless to ask for her opinion now. Why don't you make the decision yourself?" Mufirin said, "I know, so I didn't ask her anything this time." Be careful. Those little stars don't know anything. They only know how to attract criticism. It's especially so in reality shows. Yeah, don't worry, I know. I believe that you are much more experienced than them. Besides, this kind of program is no different from filming. Who isn't acting? That's right. They knew in private that they had already prepared a persona for you. You just had to act according to it. At the beginning, the director team might not know your persona. But when the filming started, the director would start to figure out your persona based on your performance. For example, Mufirin, from the beginning to the end, she maintained her image. But when her image was destroyed, the director team immediately came up with a persona for her. It was this kind of contrasting and cute persona. And one of the newcomers, who had no fame at all, was very complicated and attracted criticism. She was very pretentious and good at putting on a show. The things she said were very bad, so she was ostracized and disliked by everyone. However, this was also the only way for her to become famous. If this kind of newcomer was really as obedient as those little stars, how many scenes could she get? What was there to see? The female celebrities also had their own ideas. They wanted to maintain their image so that they wouldn't attract too much criticism. If they had a black mark on the outside, they would wash it clean on the reality show. If they didn't have any black marks on them, they would put on an act and be more honest. If not, they would just fight for the cameras with each other. Because they already had popularity, they didn't need to perform too well in the show. Anyway, they were used by the film team to attract popularity so they wouldn't be given too little screen time. This time, the reality show was very tiring. After Fearon went back, she immediately collapsed at home. Black Eagle looked at her and came over to massage her with a smile. "What's wrong? You haven't been so tired in a long time, right?" "Yeah, I haven't had a good fight for a long time." Thinking back to when she had just started her career, she had also fought her way out. Back then, those plots and schemes were no less than what she had now. At that time, she had worked so hard to climb up. In recent years, after she became famous, she didn't work so hard. Now, in order to prevent the people around her from being looked down upon, she calmed herself down again. Seeing her like this, Haing smiled and continued to massage her. "When will the show be broadcast?" "The first episode will probably be broadcast next week. I'll ask my brothers to cheer for you." No, Fearon said hurriedly. She didn't want to make a big deal out of it. Fearon looked at him. It was really strange. This guy was so sloppy. What would he be like when he did things seriously? It couldn't be like this. Then, how could he be the boss and establish his prestige? Fearon said, "By the way, you haven't finished. At that time, you went to society and found a job. Then what happened?" Black Eagle smiled. "Then I started working, carrying bricks. Yeah, it must have been hard. It's good enough to be alive." Black Eagle thought. At that time, he only had one thought, which was to be able to survive. In the end, he finally saved up 1,000 yuan and was able to rent a house. Once again, he encountered difficulties. The people who worked with him knew that he had saved up some money, so they stole it while they were drinking. Those people were not good people. Otherwise, why would they still carry bricks when they were adults? Before they carried bricks, many of them had been to the police station and had criminal records. Therefore, at this time, they used all their strength to bully this helpless young man. They didn't even think about how long he had saved up the money. Black Eagle found out that the money was stolen in an instant. Although he was still young, he wasn't stupid. He knew that these people had stolen it, so he went to ask for the money. They looked at Black Eagle and felt that such a small child was easy to trick. They gave him 100 yuan as if he was a beggar and said, "We're afraid that you'll lose it. You're still young. Leave it with us." Black Eagle narrowed his eyes and looked at them. If he endured being bullied, he would only be bullied to the end. Therefore, Black Eagle threw a punch at him. Chapter 1575. How could they have imagined that Black Hawk would dare to attack them? After all, he was just a child, and they were all adults. However, the Black Hawk really made his move. After a few punches, they hurriedly went up to fight. Black Hawk alone would not be able to defeat so many of them. He was hit a few times, but he knew that he couldn't let them have a good time. Even if he was hit, he didn't forget to hurt them. As the saying goes, the barefooted are not afraid of those who wear shoes. If he was not afraid of being beaten, then who could do anything to him? A few thieves followed behind and exclaimed in admiration. She only felt that this child was crazy to sacrifice his life for 1,000 yuan. However, Black Hawk did not do it for the $1,000. He just did not want to be bullied like this anymore. The result of being weak would only be more bullying. He just wanted to stand up. Moreover, $1,000 was just $1,000 to them, but for Black Hawk, it was enough to sustain his life. Behind them, the people from the construction site outside saw it and rushed in. Those people were just relying on the fact that they had more people on their side. In fact, they were also very cowardly. Bullying the weak and fearing the strong was probably their style. Therefore, at this moment, they looked extremely terrified. They were surprised to find that the Black Hawk had beaten the thieves to the ground. His face was bruised and swollen, but he still stood there firmly, looking at them. Behind them, several people were brought out. He was also taken out. When he was dressing his wounds in the infirmary, the doctor kept saying, "You've been hit so many times, doesn't it hurt?" Black Hawk shook his head. What's worse than physical pain is not being able to live. "I don't feel pain." At this moment, the owner of the construction site arrived. At first, he didn't really believe that a teenager could beat up those notorious men who had been imprisoned in the police station. Because those people had been in prison, many people avoided them. However, he didn't do that. On the contrary, he beat them up badly. Thus, he faced the Black Hawk and asked, "What's your name?" Emogenian. "Well, you can't do it here anymore." "I, boss, are you going to fire me?" "No." The boss looked at him. "Go to my car wash. Train there. You're still young. Fighting isn't a serious thing. You still have a lot to learn." Just like that, he won the boss's appreciation. Later on, he had always respected this boss. Because of this, Blackhawk was the first to help him expand his car wash business after gaining power. Now, in a country, he was considered the leader of the industry. Now, because of his old age, he began to retire. In retrospect, he felt that the wisest decision he had ever made in his life was to take a liking to this child. He felt that he was a person with endurance, so he secretly helped him. Although it was just a matter of raising his hand for this child, it gave him another support to continue living. And this child was more capable than he had imagined. From a hooligan in his teens who wandered the streets, in the end, he actually became a mafia boss that the whole world feared. Before Mu Firen's show was broadcast, she had already started filming for the second episode. Because in the last episode, Zhang Tianming felt that Mu Firen, who was not suitable to develop in the variety show, was a great threat to him. He didn't expect Mu Firen to do so well. The director kept praising her, and those who had secretly watched the editing also said that she had a lot of scenes. It seemed that she would no longer be the most popular in this show. Of course, she was unhappy, so she quickly contacted the company and started to think of a solution. The people from the company said, "That's easy. Give her some black marks." The production team doesn't know if her black marks are real or not, so they won't dare to film her in this episode. If it's real, it will be a problem to edit it out. That's good, but what black marks can she have? Her previous man is called Mo Ding. He used to be a very powerful boss in the industry. He married her and divorced her. She's still taking care of their child. What kind of black mark is that? Let's just say that she married Mo Ding when she was pregnant, but because Mo Ding didn't want to be a father, he divorced her. Now that Mo Ding has a second wife, and it's said that she's from a good family, he won't answer these questions. Zhang Tianming smiled and said immediately, "Very good. Then hurry up and publish it. The show is about to start filming soon." They did as they had said. The next day, when the production team was still in a meeting, someone said, "Oh no, there's news about Mu Firen on the internet. I don't know if it's real or not." They looked on the internet and saw someone vividly describing Mu Firen's past. There were also some photos of Mu Firen getting married and having a child. There was evidence that she was no longer with Mo Ding. There was also evidence that Mu Firen was taking care of her child. When the production team saw it, they couldn't tell if it was real or not. Is this true or not? I remember saying it once before. It's like mentioning it again, but there's no smoke out of a hole. Let's see how Mu Firen responds. I think it's just come out. Mu Firen probably doesn't have any news yet. Will they respond? Some people just ignore these kinds of things, said Yi Zichen. But look, there are so many people. If she doesn't respond, the internet water army won't stop. That's not good. The audience will only believe these one-sided words and make it seem like there's a lot of evidence. Below, Mu Firen's company naturally knew about it. She worked under Lin Shei's company, but the company also arranged for her to work in her personal studio. The studio was suddenly in chaos. Damn, what's going on? Why did such a piece of news come out? Is it not enough to say that we're toxic in the box office? What should we do now? Sister Firen doesn't know whether it's real or not. Are we going to ask Sister Firen directly? Whether it's real or not, we have to treat it as fake. Otherwise, if it's really like this, how could she clear her name? Even if no one mentioned it in the future, people would first think of being a father when they saw her. At this time, Mu Firen came in from outside. Seeing everyone talking about it with a sad face, Mu Firen smiled. What's wrong? Sister Firen. They looked at her. I didn't know what to say. Mu Firen said, All right, don't look so sad. I saw it all. Sister Firen now I have to say that these tricks haven't changed after so many years. But she's still a newcomer, but I'm not. Everyone saw Mu Firen sit down calmly, cross her legs, and raise her eyebrows lightly. She looked as if everything was under her control, and everything was under control. That look made people feel inexplicably at ease. Chapter 1576. Sister Fearin, what should we do now? Mu Fearin said, don't reply yet. Let's see if they really have something to release. Oh, okay. Is it really okay not to reply? A lot of netizens have started to scold us. Don't worry. The reversal of the slap will make people angry. Then, they will hate the slanderer even more. Mu Fearin said with a smile, the more they scold me now, the more they will hate them in the future. Realization dawned on them when they heard that. Looking at Mu Fearin, they felt that they were too short-sighted. They didn't even deserve to be Mu Fearin's agent. Meanwhile, outside, the incident was developing very quickly. Then, the other party said that Mu Fearin was backed by a sugar daddy and that she had climbed into the bed of her company's boss at the beginning. Later, she climbed into the bed of someone else. All of these started to tell the story instead of slandering her with some small stories as if they had evidence. Mu Fearin wanted to laugh, but seeing that there were many people below, she believed them. That was how people found it funny. It was as if they felt that it was true after reading other people's stories. As for whether the evidence was real or fake, if you looked at it from another angle, it would be a different story. Whether what they said was right or wrong, they would not be able to judge. They would only start typing on their keyboards after seeing it and express their dissatisfaction. There's no good person in the industry. Female artists? Don't they all sleep with them? Many people know that Mu Fearin put on a woman's hat for her husband, but she hasn't mentioned it for a long time. So, there's a reason why Mu Fearin is poison in the box office. She's very close to the side of the reality show this time. Look at the poster. She's standing outside. She's such a senior, but she's going to the reality show to make money. She's really not doing well. Zhang Tianming was very satisfied with the effect. Soon, it was the day of the reality show shooting. The film crew looked at Mu Fearin, feeling a little embarrassed. They had been told to focus on the other people in this episode and not to waste too much time on Mu Fearin in case they couldn't cut a few scenes. Rui Shui, who had been sticking to Mu Fearin all the time in the last episode, started to be cautious and indecisive in this episode. She looked at Mu Fearin and felt that it was a pity, but she didn't dare to get too close. Seeing this, Zhang Tianming sneered. He walked over to Mu Fearin and said, Sister Fearin, we've heard about the recent scandals. It's really annoying for someone to bring up those old stories. Mu Fearin was speechless. Mu Fearin looked at Zhang Tianming and said, Tianming, I think you don't have to act so well. It's obvious you did this. You'd better practice a little more before you play with me. Zhang Tianming looked at Mu Fearin. Zhang Tianming's expression changed. What are you talking about, Sister Fearin? Since you've already started to oppose me, then I'll take the trouble to teach you a lesson this time. I'll let you know what it means to be older and wiser. The people at the back had not expected Mu Fearin's aura to be so stunning all of a sudden. Rui Shui, who had been hiding, widened her eyes. Zhang Tianming's eyes moved. She didn't expect that Mu Fearin would know it was her at once. She had no grudge against her in the past. How? How could it be? I have no grudge against you. You must be mistaken, Sister Fearin. Mu Fearin said, I'm not mistaken. Don't you know that I'm already toxic in the box office? I didn't have any business dealings with anyone in the past. Now I'm not a threat to anyone except for this reality show. Rui Shui is very smart and knows that she will stick to me to gain attention. Since she wants to stick to me, she won't do anything to me. You saw that Rui Shui stuck to me, and I did well last time. It seems that if she follows me, she will indeed gain more attention and attention. Rui Shui is your competitor, and you have to be ranked here. Although you don't think I'm competitive, you don't want Rui Shui to stand in front of you and become the topic of the reality show, right? So, of course, you'll do something to me. Duh. Rui Shui suddenly came to her senses. I see. Tianming, you're wrong. When we came here, we said that we were here to have fun. Since you care so much about it, I can give you this position. I think I can learn a lot from Sister Fearin. That's why I like to be with Sister Fearin so much. If you want to learn, you can also come. Rui Shui saw that Mu Fearin was so smart that she could see through everything at once. She had a high EQ. She hurried to Mu Firen's side. She had a feeling that Zhang Tianming wouldn't be able to defeat Mu Firen, who was so smart. Mu Firen looked at Rue Shui with a smile. Rue Shui, you made the right choice. If you follow me, even if I have a scandal, the two of us will be much more important than her. You want to be the center of attention, right? If we go together, she won't be able to compete with you. Zhang Tianming didn't expect that Mu Firen would be so direct. Rue Shui said, Yes. Thank you for your advice, Sister Firen. The film crew was stunned before they started filming. What was going on? Mu Firen openly tore Zhang Tianming apart. However, after hearing what she said, everyone felt that Mu Firen was right. This Zhang Tianming was so scheming just to snatch a spot. Mu Firen said to the film crew, Okay, let's start filming. You didn't get in just now, did you? I think that our show is quite a harmonious show. It's better if we don't fight with each other. Now that the higher-ups are cracking down on us, it's too ugly. It won't be good for us to be taken off the air. So let's just pretend that what happened just now didn't happen. Otherwise, since everyone has signed a contract with this show, everyone has to take responsibility, right? Yes. Sister Firen is so understanding. Zhang Tianming was furious. However, most people felt that what Mu Firen said made sense. Moreover, this show was really about profits. Everyone wanted to become famous with the show and didn't want the show to be ruined. Therefore, Zhang Tianming could only bear with it. Otherwise, his hard work would be in vain. The filming continued. Although the production crew said that they would give Mu Firen less screen time at the beginning, they couldn't give her too little screen time because Rue Shui was with her. Therefore, it was still Mu Firen and Rue Shui who stood out this time. Mu Firen's manager couldn't help but admire them. She killed two birds with one stone. First, she got Rue Shui to protect herself from the incident. Second, she made Zhang Tianming feel awkward for the whole episode. He had to think about what he wanted to do when he went back. Since Mu Firen already knew about it, it wouldn't be good for her if the fight was too obvious. Especially since she got Rue Shui to know that Zhang Tianming was her enemy and his target was her, Rue Shui would definitely stick close to Mu Firen. It was a win-win situation for both of them. Chapter 1577. However, although this rumor was not spread openly, it was spread widely in the form of a story. Both old and new netizens knew about it. Mu Firen's manager sighed. What should we do? These people are really too much. It's already an old story, and they're still dragging it out. Everyone felt that it was difficult to respond to this. In the past, there had been similar rumors about a celebrity being kept as a mistress by a big boss. She had even been stuffed with golf balls and was sent to the hospital. After that, everyone thought of golf when they saw that celebrity. This really made people feel speechless. However, she couldn't respond to it. From then on, her image was ruined. She had changed from a goddess to a senior who made people sigh at the mention of her name. Although they acknowledged her beauty, they felt that she was a bad mistress who worshipped money and was promiscuous. Mu Firen said calmly, Calm down. Take your time. After the shoot, she went home. When she got home, sitting on the sofa, Black Hawk was giving orders. Remember to inform all the brothers what we have to do tonight. Got it? The man immediately said, Watch Sister-in-Law's TV. Okay. Mu Firen felt that she looked at Black Hawk and said, You don't have to do this. Black Hawk said, I can't buy data for you. You won't want this data anyway. Just let them take a look at it. It's real. Okay. Mu Firen said, I'm tired. I'm going to lie down. Do you want something to eat? I'll make it for you. You want noodles? Then I'll make noodles for you. Why did that sound? Before Black Hawk realized it, he had already put on his apron and went to the kitchen. Mu Firen, on the other hand, stood there and looked at him. The more she thought about it, the more interesting it became. After a while, he made the noodles. He brought it to Mu Firen and said, Try it. Mu Firen immediately picked up her chopsticks and took 2 bites. It tasted good. She looked at him with a smile. The noodles are not bad. Of course, my noodles are top-notch. Think about how many years I've been doing this. Mu Firen snorted. Black Hawk looked at her. It's good, right? Eat more. I'll leave it for you. Aren't you eating? I'm losing weight. Mufirin didn't believe him. He just didn't cook much and wanted her to eat more. I'm also on a diet. Come and eat some. Otherwise, if I'm too fat, no one will ask me to act in TV dramas. I'm an artist. I have to take care of my figure. Who dares? Black Hawk snorted. She pushed it in front of him. Want to eat? Want to eat? He took a look and picked up his chopsticks. Seeing that it was the same bowl as her, he smiled and started eating. He was like a little boy who had just been enlightened, because when she shared the same cup with her crush, she could secretly laugh for a long time. Black Hawk had never been in a relationship. That was true. In the past, there were many women. People in the underworld were all like that. If they didn't have a woman by their side, they would be embarrassed. However, he had never really fallen in love with anyone. Speaking of which, it was really regrettable. Perhaps the past was all for the sake of meeting her. He was also very glad that he had met her at a good time. If it was in the past, he really wouldn't have had the mood to fall in love. Thinking back to the time when he was working at the car wash, he was already halfway into the underworld. When he had nothing to do, he would get into a fight every few days. In the beginning, he was easily beaten up, but later on, it was others who got beaten up. When he was 16, his life changed again. At that time, the number one man in country A was unwilling to pay for a meal. At that time, he was working as a security guard at the restaurant. When he heard about this, he came out to ask what was going on. There were many people in the restaurant at that time. At that time, Black Hawk, or Mo Jinyin, was not called Black Hawk, but Brother Hay. When they saw Black Hawk, the group of people made way for him. Brother Hay, look, it's them. Black Hawk pushed them away and walked over. What's going on? The few of them looked at Black Hawk. Who are you? There were 6 or 7 people at the table, each more arrogant than the other. They sat there and looked at Black Hawk as if they were not the least bit interested. Black Hawk said, "Brothers, you have to pay for a meal. Don't you know that?" Huh. One of the bald men stood up and slammed the table. You're really talking to the number one man. At that time, Black Hawk did not know who the number one man was. He looked at that person and said, even if the emperor comes here, he has to pay for a meal. Of course, unless he's a beggar. If he's a beggar, I'll give him a bite and he won't have to pay. Hey, who the fuck are you calling a beggar? Brother, hey, look, isn't he talking about us? The number one man raised his eyebrows and looked at Black Hawk. So you're saying that I'm worse than a beggar here? Black Hawk harumphed. Below, a cup was thrown directly at Black Hawk. Black Hawk was used to it and dodged it. He held the person down and pushed him onto the table. A few people came up together. Black Hawk's side also had 3 people. The other 2 weren't very good, but Black Hawk was not afraid of taking care of these people. Seeing the panic, the people around them hurriedly moved away. The people in front were still being arrogant, but the people behind them felt that something was wrong. When the few of them were completely beaten up by the Black Hawk, they could not help but cry out in pain. Io, who? Who is this person? You don't know, this is Brother Black. He's famous here. When the number one man saw this, his eyes moved, and he immediately left. Seeing this panic, the people were still admiring and praising Black Hawk. As expected of Black Hawk, he was really amazing. Just then, they saw a group of people suddenly rushing in from outside. They were holding baseball bats and knives, and they directly smashed into the place. In an instant, there were more than 10 people. Only then did the people behind them panic. Oh, what's going on? You don't know. That's the number one man just now. He's famous in country A. Your brother Black beat up his people. Isn't he asking for death? Black Hawk did not expect so many people to suddenly appear. Moreover, they were surrounding the place. They had no chance to resist. The baldy who was beaten up by him just now directly kicked Black Eagle to the ground. Hey, weren't you very good just now? Now come on, hit me. One fist after another, he smashed Black Eagle's head. Black Eagle's nose was bleeding, and his white t-shirt was dyed bright red. Black Hawk did not make a sound. He knew that he could only be beaten up today. He could not beat them. The baldy threw him to the ground. Then, the number one man walked out slowly from behind. Kid, he stepped on Black Hawk's head and looked at him. You're still young, you don't know. You can't be a hero just because you're good at fighting, understand? Chapter 1578. Hey Ing looked up. Brother One looked at him and said, "You're still too young to come here play. Remember whose territory this is next time." In the end, the few of them beat up Hey Ing and even spat on his face. Only then did they leave. Everyone looked at Hey Ing and helped him up after a long while. Hey Ing narrowed his eyes as he watched them leave. For the first time, he felt that he wouldn't be able to take revenge if this went on. Brother One was despicable, but he had taught him a lesson. It was not enough to just fight. A person's most lethal weapon wasn't their fists. It was their brains. After that, Hey Ing recovered from his injuries and sent people to ask about Brother One's business. Brother One was involved in a shady business. He was very influential. In Country A, he was known as a vicious and ruthless person. He lived in a villa worth tens of millions and drove a luxurious car. He had hundreds of subordinates helping him build his empire. However, he also had a lot of enemies and had offended a lot of people. After a sauna, he was waiting at the entrance with his men. In an instant, more than 10 of his enemies chased after him. Brother One couldn't avoid them, and a few of them were beaten to the ground. He wanted to run, but the people behind him refused to let him go. He saw the long knife in front of him and thought that he was going to die here. Who would have thought that at this moment? A person suddenly stood in front of him. He blocked the long knife and stood there. He kicked away the person who was attacking him. Then he pulled out the long knife and slashed at the person who was attacking him. Brother One's men chased after him, and so did the other party. Brother One shouted, "How dare you touch me? If I don't die today, you'll all be dead tomorrow." The few of them saw that they didn't have a chance anymore and ran away with their tails between their legs. Brother One lowered his head and looked at the young man who was lying in a pool of blood. His eyes widened. "Hey, isn't this the person who beat us up at the restaurant?" I remember that they called him Brother Hay. The person who had fallen was Hey Ing. Hey Ing was brought to the hospital by a few people. He had only been stabbed in the stomach. The doctor stitched up his stomach and sighed as he looked at him. "Look at what you've done to yourself." Black Hawk coughed and looked down. He thought to himself that he had survived today. In the future, he would also have to work hard to survive. At this moment, Brother One arrived. He quickly got up. Brother One said, "Why did you save me?" Black Hawk propped himself up and looked at him. That day, Brother Yi's words made me suddenly see the light. It also made me understand that there are people like Brother E in this world. I feel that I really admire Brother E, so when I saw Brother E almost get into trouble, I couldn't help but go over. Brother One pressed his shoulder. "All right, you saved me this time. I won't mistreat you." Black Eagle looked at him, his eyes shining with a smile. However, only he knew in his heart. He was the one who gave them the position of first brother. He followed until the very end, and when he saw that the first brother was about to die, he rushed over. This was a method of survival in a hopeless situation. It was a huge gamble, but obviously he won. The broadcast of Mu Fearin's show really created a different feeling for everyone. Everyone's impression of Mu Fearin was too absolute. They had always felt that Mu Fearin was a celebrity with top-notch acting skills. She was a big shot and a senior. However, unexpectedly, Mu Fearin's performance on the show was very realistic. She was very strong and independent. She could think of ways to do anything. She protected Rui Shui, set up a tent with Rui Shui, went out to borrow money and things, shoveled the ground, and sold vegetables. It was very refreshing. I didn't expect Mu Fearin to be so warm. I can't tell that Mu Fearin is a cuckold. I think Mu Fearin is quite independent in real life. She's very good, especially like a modern urban woman. Mu Fearin really looks like a mother. I can see that she has been taking good care of her children. Those children are very obedient to her, so I don't think she should take the blame for the previous incident. It's not easy to take care of a child alone. No matter whose child it is, she is a good mother. Seeing that, Rui Shui also became the target of discussion. For a moment, she felt that it was right to follow Mu Fearin. Zhang Tianming was calm and didn't have any discussion at all. She was much luckier when she followed Mu Fearin. No wonder Zhang Tianming wanted to mess with them. At this time, taking advantage of this opportunity, someone began to send scripts to Mu Fearin. However, the agent was stunned when he saw the scripts. Why do they send us scripts for supporting roles? What do they mean? When did our Fearin take on supporting roles? No way. What do they mean? Yes, they're so vicious. Hearing their shouts, Mu Fearin said to them, well, you haven't read the scripts. Why are you talking about it? Show me the scripts. They looked at Mu Fearin. Sister Fearin, it's just a script for a supporting role. Forget it. Mu Fearin said, isn't this a sign of respect? Moreover, the script for a supporting role was sent to me, which means that the director really thinks that this role is suitable for me. Then I better see what it is. Mu Fearin took the script and looked at it. It was indeed a script for a supporting role. Moreover, it was a villain. This woman was vicious and greedy. She would use everything that was useful to her and discard everything that was useless to her like a pawn. At the end of the script, she naturally died a horrible death. She was the final boss and was severely beaten up. At the beginning, she couldn't tell whether it was good or bad, but she secretly planned everything. Later, everyone knew that she was the final boss. From God's perspective, the audience could see that she was doing bad things in front of the main character, but at the same time, she behaved well in front of the main character. Therefore, it was easy for her to attract hatred. The agents said, this is too bad. It will affect the image of the main character. Mu Fearin said, I think it's good. Since I've been a failure as the main character, why don't I play a supporting role? Maybe it'll be better. Which company sent this role to me? Let's talk to the director first. Sister Fearin, you can't be serious. Do I look like I'm joking? Okay. Since you said so, I'll contact the company right away. The company was a new company, but the director was a good director. He had produced many plays in the past and had also shot several famous films and TV series. However, he hadn't appeared in the industry for a long time. Mu Fearin was very interested, so she asked someone to contact the director. Chapter 1579. When the director heard that Mu Fearin was contacting him, he immediately said that they could meet for a meeting. In fact, most of the deals in the film and television industry were negotiated at the dinner table. The few of them made an appointment to meet each other for a meal. They wanted to get to know each other before discussing. That night, Mu Fearin entered the room in her casual clothes. When she saw the director, she greeted him with a smile. Hello, everyone. You're early. I'm a little late. No, we're early. Please have a seat. The few of them stood up to welcome Mu Fearin. Director Kieran looked at Mu Fearin and said, I didn't expect Sister Fearin to be interested in the script. Mu Fearin replied, yeah, I've never acted in such a bad role before, so I wanted to give it a try. Wow, this role is very special. We think she is a beautiful woman, strong, independent, and opinionated. Fearin, I can see that you are a strong and opinionated woman in real life, but we are worried that we might not be able to pay you a lot because there are too many costumes and props, so we can't afford to pay you a lot. Mu Fearin smiled and looked at him. Director Chin, other people will talk about the remuneration at the end, but you're really honest. You're talking about the investment first. Kieran laughed and said, we know, Fearin. It's useless for me to brag about your identity. Mu Fearin looked at them and said, let me think about it. I'll look at the script and the rest of the cast. All right, the cast is full of talent. I'm sure you'll like it. Mu Fearin didn't say everything, but she felt that they were quite sincere. Before leaving, Kieran shook hands with Mu Fearin. Actually, I'm already very happy that you came. After all, with your social status, it's normal for you to look down on us. I'm just surprised that you came to have dinner with us. Mu Fearin smiled and said, now I know that it's necessary for me to change my identity. No one can be an idol forever. The most important thing is to find a path that suits me. All right, I hope we can work together in the future. Okay. After they parted ways, the manager looked at Mu Fearin with pity. They were outstanding. She was clearly the Empress of Heaven, but now she had to lower herself again and again. It wasn't that they were pretentious, but in this industry, there were plenty of heavenly kings and queens who couldn't lower their statuses. The more he saw, the more he felt that they were brilliant. They were truly hard-working and advancing forward. But how did it become a box office poison? The Black Hawk was still exercising at home. The people at the side looked at Black Eagle, standing there one by one. looking at the Black Hawk standing upside down, his whole body leaning against the wall. "Boss, what do you think now?" Black Hawk frowned. He flipped over and got down from the wall before grabbing the thing in his hand. Black Hawk's expression was solemn. "How long has it been?" "It's been a while, but Country A has been hiding it. Now that they suddenly released the news, I don't know if they're already prepared to lure Big Brother over. We're worried that Big Brother will be in danger, so we're a little hesitant after receiving the notice." At this moment, Mufirin came in. He saw a few people standing in the room. Although she was used to seeing people here, this was the first time she saw them with such a terrible expression on their faces. She stood there in a daze, staring blankly at them. Did something happen? They quickly said, "Sister-in-law, hurry up and persuade Big Brother not to go to Country A." Mufirin looked at the Black Hawk in surprise. "Why would he go to Country A?" "All right, shut up, you guys. Get out." They still wanted to say something, but seeing that the Black Hawk wouldn't let them, they could only look at Mufirin sullenly, shut their mouths, and walk out. As they walked, they secretly winked at Mufirin. Seeing that the door was closed, Mufirin turned around and asked the Black Hawk, "What's going on? What happened?" The Black Hawk turned around and pulled off his sweaty shirt. "Nothing." "Then why did you go to Country A?" "One of Big Brother's passed away. I'm going to pay my respects." "Then, why do they look like that?" Mufirin grabbed the Black Hawk and asked with concern. The Black Hawk grabbed the water and took a sip, saying nothing. "If you don't tell me, I won't let you go." He turned around and looked at Mufirin speechlessly. Mufirin looked dissatisfied. The Black Hawk sighed. "It's nothing. However, although there's no conflict, there are many people who hate me over there. They are worried that someone will harm me when I show up." Mufirin was shocked. "Will it be dangerous?" "It's not that dangerous. It's their imagination that ran wild first." "Impossible. I won't allow you to go." "No." Mufirin grabbed him and refused to let him go. The Black Hawk was helpless. After coaxing her for a long time, she finally felt better. She said, "Is it your Big Brother over there?" "Not really." "Then why do you want to go?" "It's just a notice. I'm familiar with him. If I don't go, it'll seem disrespectful. In our line of work, we value respect for the elders and the Big Brother." Mufirin still felt unhappy. "Then you're very familiar with him?" "Sort of. Someone who helped you in the past?" "Yeah, someone who hurt me in the past. Fortunately, he's always early. Otherwise, he should be the one who ended his life." The Black Hawk said, "Back then, when I was over there, in a country, he was under the command of the First Brother." "What kind of person was the First Brother?" "The First Brother was a very complicated person. His treatment of Black Hawk could be considered good. Black Hawk gave him everything and would bring him wherever he wanted. However, when he was vicious and angry, he would never care who you were. The Black Hawk followed him into the field. He brought the Black Hawk not because the Black Hawk had saved him, but because he knew that the Black Hawk was good at fighting. He brought the Black Hawk with him to use as a shield. But it didn't matter. The Black Hawk had learned a lot from him. When he hit the Black Hawk's head with an ashtray, he said to him, "Brother, do you know that we're in a business where our heads are tied to our waistbands? So tell me, why don't I treat you well? Is it useful to be nice to you? If I'm too nice to you, you'll be careless and lose your life. Little Black, look at these people. They seem to be respectful to me, but in fact, none of them don't want to kill me. So I can't tell them all my secrets. I have to hide something so that they will be afraid of me, right?" The Black Hawk knew that he had his own set of rules to survive for so many years. Chapter 1580. When he went out, he kicked Black Eagle away. "Look at yourself. How dare you follow me?" Black Eagle still had to respectfully say, "Brother E, I'm sorry." During Brother Yi's birthday banquet, he had to kneel and say, "Thank you for your guidance, Brother E." When he had been working for Brother E for 2 years, Brother E was suddenly being hunted. While they were eating, someone suddenly shot at them from behind. Black Eagle felt it quickly and pushed Brother E away. When the two of them fell to the ground, Brother E didn't realize what had happened. He kicked Black Eagle away and said, "Where the fuck are you going?" When he got up, he saw that the window had been shot through. Only then did Brother E realize what had happened. So it was an assassination. His face turned green, and he quickly shouted, "What are you looking at? Cover me and get me out of here." Brother E naturally wouldn't apologize to Black Eagle just because he had misunderstood him. He also wouldn't thank Black Eagle for saving him. Instead, he hurriedly asked his men to protect him. He felt that these were things that a follower of Black Eagle should do. Blocking a knife for him, protecting him, making him angry, these were all things that he should do. Black Eagle didn't have any complaints on his face. He didn't even look unhappy. He hurriedly escorted Black Eagle away and followed Black Eagle's instructions to find the assassin. The assassin was on the opposite building. He couldn't have run far. Black Eagle led Brother Yi's men and chased after him. At one glance, they could see that the assassin was a teenage boy. He was holding a gun and running around randomly. Black Eagle immediately ordered his men to chase after him. "Stop him." Yes. Everyone chased after him. Black Eagle followed them, but the boy ran quite fast. In an instant, he was out of sight. Black Eagle ordered his men to split up to look for him. He walked in the alley, looking for him. It was dark, and he couldn't see anything clearly. He didn't see anyone at first, but then he suddenly heard a sound from below. It sounded like he had hit something. He turned his head, picked up the gun in his hand, and loaded it. "Who's there?" The boy shivered and raised his hand. "Just beat me to death." He was indeed still a boy, skinny as a match, with a greenish face. Black Hawk narrowed his eyes and looked at him. For a moment, he suddenly thought of how he looked when he first arrived on the street. That despair was exactly the same as the young man before him. However, at that time, Black Hawk was even smaller than him. Black Hawk asked, "Why did you come here to kill?" The boy said, "My mother is dying. If I don't take this job, I won't have the money to treat her." The gun in his hand slowly loosened. He looked behind him and thought for a moment. When he heard someone coming, he walked out. "Brother, hey, I can't find him. There's nothing inside either. Let's continue searching over there." Yes. An hour later, the Black Hawk had returned. Sure enough, the boy was no longer hiding, but after a while, the boy suddenly jumped out. "Brother Black, you saved me. My life is yours. I'll follow you." Black Hawk looked at the young man and suddenly had an idea. He said, "Who hired you?" "I don't know him. He's a big man, tall and strong." Black Hawk said, "Is his place filled with assassins?" "No, he hired me because he saw that I wanted money." Black Hawk nodded in understanding. "Here's the money. Don't do this job anymore." He gave him a stack of money and said, "Help me do something else." Do what?" the young man asked curiously. Black Hawk said, "It's also to kill people, but..." Later, Black Hawk's name spread throughout the world as the #1 assassin organization. The assassin organization, codenamed Black Hawk, was extremely powerful. It was at this time that he had the idea of forming such a team. His assassin organization had a special characteristic, which was that it had a high success rate. Why? Because he was specifically looking for those who were willing to risk their lives. He said that if they succeeded, he would give you money. If you died, he would give money to your family. These people either needed money to escape or had no hope of living. They were prepared to give up on themselves and leave some money for their family. Slowly, the organization became stronger, and its reputation spread far and wide. At that time, Black Hawk didn't think about the future. He got people to do it secretly while he secretly took care of it himself. On the surface, he was still a small follower of First Brother. First Brother was still the same. He would hit and scold him whenever he wanted. However, every night, he would take care of his organization, take orders, look for people, and plan. That day, First Brother said strangely, "What's going on? I didn't even know that there's an organization that has been quietly formed recently." Everyone asked curiously, "First Brother, what organization is it?" He said, "It's just a small organization. It's not very useful. They only do things like killing and robbing." Black Hawk curled his lips and didn't say anything. Small organization? He knew that his organization was slowly expanding. Now, he had started to hire more people to help him manage it. That was the beginning of his fortune. However, it was still a gloomy path. It wasn't just big. After all, he was born with a grudge on his back. He was born to kill. Perhaps this was fate. Mufirin went home and thought about it for a while. The more she read, the more she liked it. She felt that it wasn't a big deal whether she was a villain or not. The main point was that she liked it. Moreover, if the script was done well, it might be a turning point for her. The next day, she asked someone to call the other party and tell him that she had decided to participate. The other party was overjoyed. It would be a good gimmick to have Muffirin as the villain. Moreover, after taking a look at Muffirin, there was no one else who was more suitable for this role than Muffirin. Soon, Muffirin was busy again. On one hand, she had to shoot a reality show, and on the other hand, she had to organize the TV series that she had just taken on. Unknowingly, rumors had started to spread that Muffirin couldn't make it anymore. She had started to take on supporting roles. They didn't understand. Which TV series nowadays only had one main character and the rest were all supporting roles? Nowadays, TV series depended on how many characters there were. A real main character might not necessarily have such a big halo. It could be seen from the increasing number of supporting roles that people liked more than the main character. However, the netizens felt that Muffirin couldn't make it anymore. After taking on supporting roles, would she always be a supporting role in the future?